Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are across the world, and welcome to the 24-hour qualifying and Hyperpole sessions here on ESCC or ACV, wherever you are watching across the world. It is the time for our 24-hour Le Mans race, which will be next weekend. But more importantly, Lorenzo, it is that qualifying and Hyperpole session that is going to determine the grid for next week's fantastic race.
It's going to be a good one. Looking forward to it somewhat because, hey, I'm doing Hypercars afterwards, so I'm over here for a little bit. But for those who already got their nerves straight, you're in good shape.
It should be a fantastic day of action. We've already had our test day as we head today into the qualifying and Hyperpole shootouts before some free practice sessions 1, 2 and 3 across the week before that famous 24 hours of the La Sarthe circuit on the 6th and 7th of June. It's going to be a fantastic week to keep your eyes on the social media platforms, see who's doing what in free practice and who is able to take them pole positions here today. It's going to be an interesting session, to say the least. We'll run through what the sessions will be in just a few moments' time. As you can see, the 13.62 kilometre circuit, 33 turns, all as challenging as the next here at Le Mans in France. What a circuit at the iconic racetrack. We obviously all love the Le Mans 24-hour when it comes around, and it's going to be an interesting race to see what these three categories of cars, Lorenzo, can do around here.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's consider the fact that we got LMP2s and LMP2 Pro-Am, so it's basically two classes in one car, so it's going to be interesting what the pace is going to be as the highlights. Basically, this is our annual edition, right? With partnership with VSCA and also more than 55 cars for this today's grid and tonight's grid as well. Looking forward to what is going to happen in the next few minutes.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one to see what will happen. But ACV and VSCA unite for the inaugural 24 hours of the La Sarthe Invitational. Over 55 cars, as Lorenzo's just said, for the class of 2026. And obviously you're live watching the qualifying and Hyperpole sessions for it in this one this evening. This is going to be a fantastic race, a fantastic spectacle to see what will happen here. The qualifying rules, though, are a little different to what you may normally see in Le Mans. LMP2s and LMGT3s will qualify together for the first 30-minute session. Now, LMP2s, as Lorenzo has just said, do have the Pro-Am and the LMP2 Pro categories. They are for qualifying being classed as one. So it could be a mixed-up grid of Pros and Pro-Ams in that LMP2 qualifying. The top 8 LMP2s and the... Sorry, Lorenzo.
Go ahead.
The top 8 LMP2s and the top 12 LMGT3s will advance to the Hyperpole session coming up a little later on this evening. The Hypercars then will qualify for 30 minutes. They get the track to themselves, and the top 8 of them will advance to Hyperpole as well. Towing ends qualifying run. What that basically means is if the driver has an incident and has to request a tow back to the pit lane using the tow system that iRacing gives us, that ends your qualifying. You will not be able to come back out and do another lap. So even if you have got through to that Hyperpole session and you have requested a tow at the very end of the first half an hour, you will not be able to take part in that Hyperpole session, putting you at the back 8 or 12, depending on what car has requested that tow and if it has requested that tow of the session. As we can see then, the Hypercars are shown in red for this week and next week's event. The horsepower of 667 brake horsepower, weighing over 1,109 kilograms. These are for drivers who are silver drivers and above. And the Hypercar options for today are the Acura, the BMW, the Cadillac, Ferrari, and I believe the Porsche we will see out there as well. The LMP2s then are the darker of the blue colours. 600 horsepower, only weighing 930 kilograms, and this is silver drivers and above. But one silver driver minimum has to be in the car. Obviously the Dallara P217 for the LMP2 category. The LMP2 Pro-Am is the lighter of the blue. Exactly the same car, except bronze drivers and above, with a minimum of one bronze driver taking to the Pro-Am car. That is what the difference will be between the two LMP2s and the LMGT3s. The green category colour that you will see on the timing towers and on the cars themselves. 635 horsepower, 1,415 kilograms in weight. Bronze drivers and above, with minimum one bronze driver in that car. That's per team, let's not forget as well. And the GT3s will be represented by Acuras, Aston Martins, Audis, BMWs, Corvettes, Ferraris, Fords, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Mercedes and Porsches. Lorenzo, it's a stacked field out there with a lot of different car choices.
Yeah, and we pretty much have a little bit of everything. We're not going to have a like you would see in some of the special events where you would be seeing majorly one car or two cars. No, in here you got a little bit of everything. We got a BOP to talk about as well. That kind of like brought the cars into the most even level as possible. So looking forward to what is going to be the speed out of the GT3s, and we can talk something about the LMP2s later, which I found kind of funny when I was testing both cars.
Yeah, the keys to qualifying and the traffic between the LMP2s and the LMGT3s, who are going to share the track for the first half an hour session. That's going to be one to keep our eyes on. Setups, do you go for that straight line speed setup, or do you maybe take on a bit of a car that's better for the handling, especially through the likes of the Porsche curves? We'll see what setups drivers have gone for, or teams have gone for this afternoon. And the strategy, do you use the fastest driver for qualifying or save him for the Hyperpole if you get there? Because the driver who qualifies in that first session of qualifying for the first half an hour cannot do that Hyperpole session. Lorenzo, you're hopping in the car this afternoon for qualifying. Just talk us through that ruling from your side of point of view and your team's point of view of what you was thinking for today's event going into this one.
We were thinking, so this is going to be interesting. As we looking through the rules, that the Hyperpole driver must be the different one from the qualifying driver. Each and every category gets 20 minutes. Don't tow the car. If you tow the car, you have to go back to the pit lane. In the LMP2s, in the LMGT3s actually, if you haven't used your bronze driver in qualifying, you must use it in here. So talking about my team and myself, we decided until the very last minute. We have a very fast driver who's going to be probably doing the Hyper qualifying. If I qualify the car and Jesus in the sim racing, Jesus actually blesses me with this qualifying, but there was back and forth of maybe using them, and then I go less with less pressure, because sometimes you want to get the faster guy in and get some good track position, because you never know, you could be entangled in a very bad situation in the back of the pack where you could find potentially in a big accident. So people try to at least have some insurance into qualifying. So this is going to be interesting moving forward. Regardless if it is going to be in the LMP2s, GT3s, or Hypercars, this is going to be for everyone.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on, especially with that LMGT3 that must use a bronze driver. You'd surely think that the strategy would be to possibly get that bronze driver to do the first qualifying. But then on the other side of it, you might want to get through to that Hyperpole and see what the bronze driver is going to be capable of.
Yeah, because you have some very... we had that before. We even had that in the Zandvoort race where... the impact driver, I'm trying to remember his name. I don't know if you remember, you weren't with me, it was Jake. But I'm trying to remember his name from Impact. That basically was one of the fastest drivers around there. He was bronze. But because of his pure pace during that week and some my rating gains, he went straight into silver. So that can happen. You can have some bronze drivers who are silver level, sometimes gold level, so you have to be mindful of that. Yeah. So they could surprise you.
LMP2 Pro-Am, LMP2
I need to watch Zandvoort back, because I did sadly miss that one, and it is great to be back in the commentary box. So I do need to watch that one back ahead of our next event in the ELMS series, obviously, that we run alongside this 24-hour race, the inaugural 24-hour race here on ACV. As there you can see at the end of the pit lane, the drivers are starting to line up, and I've got a few storylines on the notes here I'm reading next to me. Got to keep our eyes on for the number 50 Rosso Esports Ferrari car in the Hypercar. they are the ones that have been the quickest in the testing yesterday. They was the fastest team out there, so keep our eyes on them, see what they can do. Now, I assume that yesterday's testing, Lorenzo, would have been a pure qualifying-based testing. Get the qualifying runs ready to go. They've got 3 more free practice sessions coming up throughout the course of this week before the race. That might be the time to dial in the race practice and get that race setup feeling absolutely perfect. Yesterday would have been surely about that pure qualifying setup to get the fastest car possible. From what I'm seeing here, and these notes are done by the guys at ACV and ESCC to keep our eyes on what is happening. They are the team to beat is what they're recommending. So all that practice, can they do it today?
Yeah, it's possible because if I don't know who did the fastest lap, if it was Robert or if it was Daniel. Both of them are driving in the car and they're fast drivers. The thing is, when I first had a little bit of a glance, I wasn't even at home. I was watching Arsenal getting folded by PSG, to be very honest.
Go on, PSG.
Yeah, come on, PSG. As a United fan, I couldn't be more pleased.
Flag for LMP2, LMP2 Pro-Am, and LMGT3. This is 30 minutes.
Have you lost your train of thought?
Qualifying.
No, it's because we got green flag. I don't know if you guys were listening. I didn't want to interrupt race control. So we got
I couldn't hear the race control there. So yeah, green flag is being given. And once again, if you have just joined us, LMP2s and LMGT3s will all be on the track at the same time. And if you're wondering why there's 2 colour LMP2 cars, that is the darker blue for the pros and the lighter blue for the Pro-Ams. Now in qualifying, Lorenzo, and this is the real interesting point here, they're going to be categorised as one category for qualifying. Yep. So we could see a bit of a jumbled up LMP2 grid. When we normally do the SEC commentary for the European Le Mans series that we regularly commentate on, they're treated per category of LMP2 Pro, Pro-Am, LMP3 and LMGT3. In this qualifying today, the Pro-Ams can really mix it with the Pro drivers here and really get a good starting position for the 24-hour next week.
Yeah, this is going to be very curious moving forward because we're gonna have 2 topics to talk about. Which first one is having nearly 2/3 of the grid in it. You have more than 30 cars in this field as it stands. We have 17 hypercars basically. So one of the interesting aspects for this is how to negotiate traffic, right? How the LMP2s will negotiate with the GT3s, especially in some of these key curves like the Porsche curves or coming into Indianapolis in Arnage and the chicanes. That's going to be very important for us to keep an eye on and looking forward to this. I know we got also an LMP2 in the field as well. I think the LMP2 as a whole is going to be quite interesting because I think this is going to be a very close qualifying where some draft, I mean, really, I think the draft is going to dictate how this qualifying is going to be done for the LMP2s. Because if they go for the long stack, they can reach out very good high speeds, nearly at the hypercar levels. But for if they are on the short stack, normal stack for qualifying, they're going to be basically nearly reaching the top of their gear stack on 6th gear, whether it's going to be in Indianapolis or the end of the first Mulsanne straight.
This is going to be the interesting thing, isn't it? As well as that traffic, because we've seen already coming through the opening out lap here at Le Mans, a few of the LMP2 sat behind some of the GT3s, so they've got to make sure that they have got most of the GT3s cleared before they get towards the end. If they've had a problem where they've had a bit of an off track or they've not left the pit lane straight away and they've ended up catching these GT3 cars, and within 30 minutes you'd imagine they might just start to catch them towards the end of the session as well, depending on where people are on track. It's going to be an interesting session to keep our eyes on in terms of everything that's going to happen here. This one in particular, because of the amount of cars on the circuit at the moment, the hypercar qualifying coming up later on, what is it? I think 17 cars in hypercars that are all going to be giving it their all. This is 12. This is 16 LMP2s and 25 GT3s that are all going to be trying to set their best laps as soon as they can. So track position here is really going to be key.
Yeah, it is. It is how you position yourself. I know that I noticed a few cars still in the pit lane when qualifying started, so they're going to be a little bit of late joiners into this qualifying session. And I think for these guys, what would happen is they get pretty much I would say an outlap, 3-4 laps, and a very potentially slow.
Yeah.
It will depend on fuel capacity for these cars, because this is something that is quite noticeable. Some of the fastest laps you are going to be doing in the car, especially for the prototypes, and I include the Hypercars in this as well, come on when the car is at its lightest, or that would mean on the last lap of the car. So it will become a discussion of how much left on your fuel tank you have for that lap. For example, you cross the line with 1.3 laps, right? Yeah. You can do that. You really want to risk that fast lap, or you want to bring it to the pit lane, put more gas in your tank, and then go back out to the racetrack and go again, because you're not going to have a lot of time. You're going to be average on track roughly about 20 minutes, and you're going to have to come in and be very effective on it. Well, some of them are going to split it maybe in 2 hot laps, try to be as most effective as they can into those laps, and then get back into it. It's just on how they're going to negotiate this performance for qualifying, because we don't check much for tires over here.
No, exactly. Paul Botting Motorsport there with Matthew Davis in the car, just cutting the second of the chicanes down the Mulsanne straight there. So he's possibly just invalidated his first run, so we'll have to get that right for that second time around. There is Matthew Davis in the orange and black machine, the Paul Botting Motorsport LMP2. The Pro-Am there being noticed by the light blue background on his number on the side of the car. And obviously, as we've already said, if you have just joined us, the LMP2s will all qualify in the same category together. So keep our eyes on this one. Drivers on their first laps, and the outlap will take a while, and it's only a half an hour session, isn't it? So you've got to look at it, and you've got to start to think, well, we haven't got a lot of time to have an error here or make a mistake or two, because it is a long old lap here at Le Mans, and you've got to make sure you can nail as many laps as you can just to try and improve as and where. Here is Poised by VF down in the Aston Martin number 37, the black and red liveried machine, being piloted by the Dutchman Joey Marcel Votlik. Down, giving that Ford Mustang a nice little slipstream down the Mulsanne straight as they come towards the bottom end of the circuit. Hitting the brakes nice and hard, using that curb on the inside and just mounting the one on the outside to get a good exit as best as you can. And such a difficult corner to come off the Mulsanne straight, flat out, pretty much on, bouncing off the rev limiter to hit the brakes hard, get it slowed down and turned in. A very difficult corner to just run deep at times, and we might see a little bit of that in qualifying here today.
Yeah, especially at the end. What happens at the end of Mulsanne straight, you're going to notice that more with the Hypercars and the LMP2s, is these cars are going to be very prone to locking up, and
yep.
And it's a pain. I just hate it. I can tell you with 500% assurance that it's possible that you're going to get a brain seizure every time that you go into the Mulsanne corner. I mean it, because the car is at its I'm not going to say brake, it's more on the brakes than anything else. The brakes are going to be quite cold. They're going to be they're going to be heat because you've done the second chicane. They're going to be heat into it, but there's a likelihood of, if your car is not straight, there's a good chance it locks up on the angle of entry as soon as you do the turn in. And this corner here as well, if Mattia didn't get a off track, he's probably going to get a slowdown. I think he did get a slowdown. Because that Rouge, I was discussing this. You can cut Pâte Rouge quite a lot and gain a lot of time. It's you can gain like, I'll tell you this. Let's just say full time I think is going to be right around the 36s and 35s, right? Potential 35 for the LMP2s or LMP2 programs. Depending on circumstances, if you do a 36, if you cut this quite aggressively and you are able to get the grip out, you can cut pretty much 3/10 of a second. Coming into the straight and just try to manage that as best you can through the chicanes. The thing is, you got to manage through the chicanes, which is very easy to lose time.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest problem, isn't it? As we've just seen there, the traffic incidences of the LMP2 just coming past the GT3 car. They're nice and cleanly, but that could have just helped that LMP2 just ever so slightly. And you can see another one in the background just behind Conor Myers here, just as they come through the first chicane. Not currently in a window where it is going to hold him up too much. But this is the traffic that we were sort of talking about, wasn't it? Of where the LMP2s have got to get their cars in the correct position on track before starting a real flyer, because this could really hurt the LMP2 car behind. It should catch him coming out of the second chicane. But it might catch him actually going into it. There it is. I don't know if the Mercedes... the LMP2 looks like he's had a bit of a lift there to not go past him. So Conor Myers is able to take his normal line into the second chicane. A nice corner exit for him there as he mounted the curb just beautifully and managed to get the power down and out of the chicane back onto the Mulsanne straight, and now the LMP2 is going to come flying past him. And this is that kind of traffic, and you can see how many GT3 cars there are behind there down the straight. But this is where it's really going to hurt the LMP2s. If they get caught up in that train of LMGT3 cars, they really are going to have to bail on their lap, because it's just going to be no good.
Yeah, and reset for another lap. As long as it isn't on the second to last lap or the last lap of their team, where it's going to be where the car is going to be at its slightest and the speed is going to be at its peak, there is a good chance that could happen, and you're going to have to abort your entire run. As we see José Barbosa over here from the Rick Team Racing, which is basically Rick Fazeres, which is a streamer over here in Portugal that is that also does some iRacing from time to time, mainly basically did a sim racing team to get people involved. I think most of them. I don't know if there was some, I know there was some pros, but also some people that are from his community as well on his Discord. As now Impact is on top of the board. Both Impact cars just behind turn 1 with the 338s as turn 1 with Ryan McIntosh doing a really good job. And ever since Ryan got back in and got into the car in Barcelona, his pace has been nothing short of impressive. And, and turn 1, I feel for turn 1 of sorts in Zandvoort, but then again, it was so clustered with incidents at Zandvoort that I think they had a legit shot of beating anyone from NOP, and I know NOP also got issues. So this is why I think the championship was basically actually discarded me. Actually, they won. They avoided the issues. So this just shows that sometimes consistency is key, but they can bounce back. I think this is a team that we should be looking forward to look in Imola, as Rosso now goes in top of LMGT3.
Yeah, I think turn 1, like you say, at Imola, I think they're going to be an interesting team to watch, obviously, with that of NOP. How will they be able to come back and try and take another win this season, defending their title? But obviously, we'll see what happens there in a couple of months' time. But turn 1 lead by 9,000ths of a second from Impact in LMP2. LMP2 Pro-Am. Now, at the moment, obviously, the times will be calculated together, meaning that the top 8 of the LMP2 and LMP2 Pro-Am together will go through. Not 8 from each, just the top 8 together, because there is only 8 cars in both categories. And obviously, it's the top 12 you've got to keep your eyes on in that LMGT3 fight. So Virtual Power is the cut-off, car 77. This is your new pole sitter currently in LMGT3, the Rosso Esports car, driven by Rafael Rodriguez in the Ferrari, getting a lovely slipstream down the Mulsanne straight on the back of the Porsche. Is this the Mulsanne straight?
It is.
It is, yeah, coming to the back end of it.
Yeah, and basically Rosso using their partner driver. Rafael is their platinum. So we go back to that topic of are you willing to sacrifice your Hyperpole to the bronze driver who might not have the same pace to assure yourself track position as the race wages on, is going to wage on for 24 hours next week. So I think Rosso is just doing that. I think they might do that in LMP2 as well. Just have to confirm who's driving the LMP2 in this current moment in their car.
And we've got a heck of a lineup next week as well. Not only is me and Lorenzo going to be in the box next week, we're also being joined by Ewan O'Leary, and Ashley Denman will be in the commentary box. I believe Lorenzo's going to be with Ewan, depending on stints in the car that he's got to do, as well as any stints in the commentary box. And I'll be partnered with Ashley Denman for parts of it at the moment. Anyway, so it's going to be an interesting one. Ewan will be kicking off the race at 2 p.m. at GMT. And then I'll be ending the 24 hours at 2 p.m. GMT, but on the Sunday. So Ewan will start and I will end. We've also got our two producers as well, Samuli and Omet, who'll be bringing you the action throughout the 24 hours of the races. Here is the Rosso Esports car of Lewis Nassari in the red and black number 15 machine, coming through the final couple of chicanes, down onto the start-finish straight now to finish his lap. Currently P6. And crosses the line to stay P6, but does improve on his lap time. I don't know. Hopefully the guys are going to know who's going through here at the moment. The pole time in the Pro-Ams is a 39.3, so that might be that the pole sitter in LMP2 Pro-Am will just make it through. I'm just double checking on my timing tower next to me.
For now, it will.
Yeah, because just looking at the LMP2 Pro cars, the Grow RT team haven't yet set a lap time, and then P7 as well of the W2E Pro GP team are only on a 3:40. It's because Lorenzo's not in the car at the moment, because I've heard he's really quick.
What a lie.
But yeah, so Jed, so for Matthew Davis of Paul Botting Motorsport, 3:39.3 will put him through currently in that top 8. Obviously the WTE Pro GP are they just inside it? No, they're just outside of it as well. So at the minute,
I think they're on the bubble.
It's the top 2 in the LMP2 Pro-Ams, and then the top 6 of LMP2 who will go through to that Hyperpole shootout. The top 12 in LMGT3. We're seeing a few cars back in the pits at the moment as well. The top 12 being cut off by the Gowan team. Not anymore. That's now going to be cut off by the Westgate team, who is down in 12th place as the Corvette just moves up into 6th place. Here is the W2E Pro GP team of Lorenzo's beloved car that he'll be taking to the wheel if they get through to Hyperpole, and that he'll be taking to the wheel of next time out at the 24-hour race next weekend. Being driven here by Leandro Schmidt.
Originally, I was meant to actually drive this car. We had a last-minute issue, and I had to yield my position to go into the hypercar. So.
Oh, you got a hypercar car as well, have we? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do. We have both cars. It's gonna be quite fun. I know our team's good, strong. I'm probably the weak link of the 4 in the hypercar, but in the LMP2s, I think the team is also very strong as well. The boys have been training all week long to see how they're going to be doing. And Leandro can do a fast lap in the car. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get it qualified. I think he's going to have to hit the right notes. But looking forward to it as we wind down to final 13 minutes of the session. Then we get prepped for Hypercars.
Yep, so 30 minutes left of this session before the half an hour is done for these drivers. And then that will be the timer done for LMGT3 and LMP2, as you see a few more cars coming out on the outlap. This is the cut-off at the moment. Welch competition. Lamborghini, being driven by Mirko, is the cut-off for LMGT3 at the moment. This car is P12 by 5 thousandths of a second. So off in the S's, who have got a slowdown next to their name with that yellow flag, ironically, is needs to find 5 thousandths of a second to get themselves into that top 12. Remember, 12 GT3s go through, the top 8 LMP2s, and that is a combine of LMP2 and LMP2 Prime will all go through. And there is Patrick Boylard in the off in the S's BMW M4, the black and gold livery, as they come down the Mulsanne to hopefully try and improve. With 12 minutes to go, you're looking at what, roughly about 3, possibly 4 laps, depending on where you are in the circuit at this current moment in time.
Yeah, I would say for GT3s they have about 3 laps. LMP2s, if they are lucky, they're gonna be having at least 1 to 4 laps. It depends on track position. With the final lap being at the very edge of their time, basically. So looking forward to see how that goes, and very close. I think this is going to be quite close for the LMGT3s, man. Look at the gaps between. If we're looking at the relative gaps from I would say 3rd to all the way back into P12, I think it's basically a full second. So it's those margins that will make or break the drivers in the field. The only one who's actually so far away from everybody else is Rosso with their platinum driver, Rafael Rodriguez. So not surprised to have that. I think everybody else are using their bronzes for this one and hoping they get through to Hyperq. So looking forward to see that as more times came in on top of the sheet as the 21W2 into P5, and I think some other cars in the LMP2 Pro-Ams were able to pass their time, but I don't think they're going to be quite enough to make it to the top end.
Yeah, and it's an interesting strategy from the Rosso team in the Pro-Am in the LMGT3 category to use their platinum driver now. Obviously, 24 hours worth of racing, so qualifying. You obviously want that good start. You obviously want that track position at the start. As the chicane there was the Lamborghini just a little wide there, the 967 IRT Lamborghini, being driven by Jesus Collado. Just get a little wide out the final corner onto the gravel. That would just cost some momentum down into his next lap. But you're right at the moment. Let's just take a look at the LMP2. So 39.6 is the slowest time, by Rosso Esports P7 at the moment, because it's a 3:41.8 by the Grow RT team, and then the quickest in Pro-Am is a 39.3. So yeah, at the moment, you know, the top 2 in Pro-Am are actually going to qualify still for that top 8 shootout so far, with a 39.3 and a 39.4 by Paul Botting Motorsport and Revolution. They're going to be 2 of the Pro-Am cars to join the top 6 in LMP2 Pro Series. So just trying to mix it up a little bit more. So keep our eyes on any other lap times changing. There is Velocity Vanguard going to do a 39.6 as well, to just try and put their name in the hat. This here is Revolution down in 2nd place with that chrome livery on the LMP2 car there. That'll look brilliant when it goes dark and in the night time. That'll look fantastic out there on the circuit. We can see a couple of LMP2s just getting the tyres in the correct window, but need to be cautious here with drivers still on a flying lap. All that weaving around, and if they get found out to be blocking, that could be a penalty coming their way. So hopefully these cars behind aren't on a quick one. And the LMP2 there, you can see weaving all the way down the straight, wasn't impeding the 2 cars behind, one of them being the NOP car and this one of the Revolution car that we are watching on board now. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one to see if these cars was on a fast lap. Obviously race control will be busy and making sure that the grid will be correctly set. Again, let's just see that tyre preparation from these 2, and here is Bot in the NOP car just staying out the way, and is he staying out the way of the Revolution car that has backed out of it? So yeah, have Revolution had their lap ruined there, or are they all just starting to prepare for one more lap?
Which car? Sorry, I couldn't follow.
The Revolution Silver, the chrome car behind.
The current car behind, if they're, it might be on a fast lap, or just preparing to get into the pit lane, because I know some cars, they are doing 4 laps and they're about to bring their car into the pit lane to try to get some service done. But I don't know if it's going to be time enough to get that thing done. Or what happens sometimes, actually do a full run with the car. They don't stop. They basically just leave nearly race pace and see what happens at the end of the stint. That can be doable, because 30 minutes is nearly a full stint of the car. You just take some fuel away and basically do what the equivalent of about 8 laps, 7 laps. So you just get yourself settled into rhythm for the next time. Because it's not 9 laps. You're doing 338, 339, 340. So add those 40s, and it's not going to be a round number.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what will happen in this session. All we know is that NOP are giving the Revolution car a nice little slipstream here as they come towards the end of their lap. If I know they're starting their next lap, sorry. So the Revolution LMP2 will get a nice little slipstream here coming onto the Mulsanne. And out it pulls now, and this will give the NOP car a bit of slipstream after the first chicane, you'd imagine, as well. The problem is now they don't want to trip up over each other and invalidate their lap times or have an incident that will cause them to end their lap, because this is it now. You've got this lap to get in, and you will get one more lap in after this. But if you mess this one up and end up with damage or something, that's pretty much your session done.
Yeah, because you have to request tilt to race control, and any towing basically ends your qualifying run. Even in Hyperpole that can happen. And if that happens, you have to tow your car and your race is done. And you're going to have to get whatever you're getting at the end of the day. Luckily for these guys, nothing happened so far. So looking to see what happens moving forward. And but as we are winding down the clock, I think as soon as we're getting ready with the checker flag, I think there'll still be some runners, and they have to count with the fact they have to do the cool down lap. They need to bring that car in, otherwise it could sound a problem for some of these dudes.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on what happens throughout this session at the moment. Then as we get towards the end of this first qualifying half an hour, the second half an hour will be the 17 Hypercars taken to the circuit, and then we'll be back just after that for the Super Pole for both the LMGT3 and LMP2 Super Pole, where they'll be on track together, and then for the Super Pole, the Hyperpole, sorry, not Super Pole, the Hyperpole of the Hypercar category as well. Welcome in everybody to the virtual grandstand. Hope you're all doing well on this Saturday evening. It's a warm one here in the UK again. My fan on next to me, and it's doing absolutely nothing.
About it, man. I'm scorching hot over here in Portugal.
Jeez, and you've got to drive in a moment, provided if your team qualify for Hyperpole. So I can only, my sympathies go out to you with being in the simulator.
I'm doing these qualifying. I need to qualify for the Hyperpole.
That's what I mean. If your team get through, you know, and you have to get in that simulator, it's really going to be a hot one. It's not nice driving in the simulators when it's a warm day.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous how the car performs, because in practice it went one way, and now after that it just went downhill, and I'm barely having time to dedicate into the sim to get a good quality run. So we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens then going forward this season. This afternoon, sorry. See, if you've been following us for our ELMS Championship, it's been an absolutely cracking series so far. Delta Racing's just moved into P4 in LMGT3, so they've managed to just climb up the order a little bit. And the cut-off now being done for LMGT3 is the double stint by TSR, P12 in LMGT3. We're going to keep our eyes on them top 8 LMP2 cars, obviously 8 in Pro, 8 in Pro-Am. But it's the top 8 out of all 16 of them. And at the moment, pole in LMP2 Pro-Am is that 39.3 still, which does put them through, puts them actually P6 overall in LMP2.
Yeah, I'm looking over here.
39.47, yeah, so that Revolution, second in Pro-Am, they'd also be through.
Top 3 in LMP2 Pro-Am makes it, and the third guy, which is the one in the bubble, actually scratched that, because there was, I think, an improvement coming from Rosso. And right now in the field, only the top 2 will make it. The only one outside, everything else other than P8, which is the Grow Racing team, they are out. So
yeah, Rosso
looking juicy right now.
Rosso are on the cusp, aren't they? Because at the moment the top 2 of Pro-Am are quicker than 6th and 7th in the LMP2 category. So the top 5 look pretty safe at the moment, but it's all between Bravo Snow, Rosso Esports, and then that of the Paul Botting M Sport and Revolution at the moment. Keep your eyes as well on Velocity Vanguard. They could also just jump in there for a late snatch of... in fact, they won't, because actually they're in the pit lane, so they will not improve. So Velocity Vanguard aren't in this. So it's the top two of LMP2 Pro-Am to keep your eyes on, over that of Bravo Snow, Rosso Esports, and possibly Grow RT. They're still out on track, but we'll see if they can improve enough. And it's going to need to be a good 2.2 seconds to improve to get through in qualifying in this one then. So let's keep our eyes on what will happen in this session. Here is the Bravo Snow car, the number 38, looking to try and make it through into the next stage of qualifying. This is going to be an interesting one to see what will happen, because this is their last lap now. So this is do or die for these guys out there now. They've got to get this lap in. Unless they're at the very end of the circuit, they will get one more run, but they've got to be on it now.
Yeah, they got to be on their very best to get the car performance out of it. So looking forward to see these crunch hours. We know sometimes drivers have to do magic things in crunch hours. So looking forward to see how that one will go in a few minutes.
So through comes the Bravo Snow car now into the final sector of the lap. There's race control sending a message through. That was a McLaren. Excuse me. Off there. So the checkered flag is to now be taken. And that is the RS Racing McLaren, who currently sit on the cusp of elimination in the LMGT3 category. Can they make it through, though, with this damaged car? Remember, they cannot request a toast. They need to drive this back to the pit lane to be able to get into that Hyperpole, provided they qualify through it at the moment. They are on the cusp. There's cars coming to the end. I'm not seeing many changes at the top of the timing tower, and it looks like the RS Racing team have got it back onto the pit road, at least, into the pit entry. Need to get it into that pit lane and into their box, because they cannot request a tow. That would be them done for the day. And they are back into the pits, thankfully, here then. Not seeing many improvements, though, at the moment. This is the Rosso Esports car, down in P7. And at the moment, not going to make it through. Bravo Snow have finished. They have also now on that cusp. Revolution have done. They are the ones that are ahead of Bravo Snow and the Rosso Esports LMP2 Pro cars. Paul Botting looks like they're going to be through. And it could be between the Rosso Esports, who bail to the pit lane. And is that the end of 3 of the LMP2 Pro cars? And we have the top 2 possibly going... no, sorry, 2 of the LMP2 cars, with the top 2 of LMP2 Pro-Am going through. We'll get full confirmation shortly of what the grid will look like. This is the Rick team racing down in 4th place in LMP2 Pro-Am. Currently a 39.6. So I tell you what, they find a couple of tenths of a second here. And they're all of a sudden sitting in a driver's seat to get through into that Hyperpole session. As we have to say goodbye to Lorenzo, as he will be getting ready to do the Hyperpole session in a few moments' time. And this is now Jose Barbosa in the Rick Team Racing car, and he comes into the pit lane. So session is done for him. And from what I am working out here, Paul Botting M Sport and Revolution in LMP2 Pro-Am will go through with the top 5 of LMP2 Pro. And then I believe it then leaves the Bravo Snow team to be the 8th car, who will also go through. And the RS Racing team, who had the damage at the end, have been eliminated from LMGT3's qualifying. The double stint by TSR moves up into the top 12 to put themselves through to the Hyperpole shootout coming up a little later on. And what a good job from all these drivers as we get ready to go to the Hypercar session in a few moments' time. But absolutely brilliant stuff from these guys in this session at the moment. It was really good to see what would happen there. Just seeing a few more cars coming back round to the pit lane. See what the grid will be in a few moments' time. But from what I've worked out, LMP2 going through to the Hyperpole session is turn 1, impact car number 6, impact car number 7, NOP, W2E Pro GP. Then it is the Pro-Am driver of Matthew Davis for the Paul Botting M Sport car, followed by then the Revolution 52 car, and then going back up to the Pro of Bravo Snow. They are the top 8 who will go through to the next round of qualifying, as there's the Paul Botting M Sport car going over the line, and Welch competition there dropped out as Paul Botting M Sport Ferrari then I think has just gone through in 10th place. So 2 Paul Botting cars in GT3 making it through the top 12. So them top 12s are Rosso Esports, Impact, Virtual Power, Bravo Snow, Delta Racing, Techman off in the S's, double stint by TSR, the Screeching Mooses, Paul Botting M Sport number 113, Paul Botting M Sport number 100, and Westgate teams have all made it through this qualifying session as we get ready for the Hypercars to come round. And we get ready to go out onto the circuit once again for that Hypercar 30 minutes, 17 of them where the top 8 go through to the Hyperpole. There we'll be able to see what that Hyperpole looks like, and we'll get confirmation. Just seeing a message coming in on the virtual grandstand. This is on iRacing ahead of the 24-hour Circuit de la Sarthe next weekend, in which we'll be live on air from 2 p.m. GMT, I do believe it was, maybe just a little bit before. It was 2 p.m. GMT next week for the full 24 hours. And that then is the first qualifying done in this session at the moment. And what a shame for that RS Racing McLaren that we saw off at the Porsche curves at the very, very end of the lap, just getting it wrong. And off he went with that mechanical damage. Got it back to the pit lane, didn't request a tow, but it ruined their last run to get that. That's provided they was up on their lap time as well, but to get that lap time in to have possibly put them through to the next stage of the qualifying session. If you're just joining us, welcome to the ESCC ACV YouTube channel. We are live here for the qualifying sessions of the 24-hour Circuit de la Sarthe race. Next weekend is the race, as we've just mentioned. This is the qualifying session. We have just got through the LMP2 and the LMGT3 qualifying session, and we await now the resumption of qualifying with the Hypercars taking to the circuit, and a good amount of Hypercars as well. 17 of them, I do believe, out there on the track for this one. We've got 4 Ferraris, we've got 4 Porsches, 4 BMWs, 3 Cadillacs, and 2 Acuras out there ready to go. There is one of the Acuras, you can see there, Charlie Rudd for the HRC Gamma Sim Racing team. 4 driver lineup for this one, 3 silvers and then a gold driver in the car. And a lot of these drivers as well, I'm looking at the entry list, a lot of teams running a 3-man lineup for this race, a lot running 4-man lineups as well. So good to see a good amount of drivers here in participation for this session. As Lorenzo, there you see him in his hypercar, getting ready to take to the track. This is why Lorenzo has left us in the commentary box. He's taken to the track for the first qualifying session, and he'll probably be back with us for the Hyperpole session. And Lorenzo now, you're used to hearing him in the commentary box. We now get to see what he can do on the circuit for the Ferrari W2E Pro GP team, coming through the first couple of corners on his formation lap as the Hypercars get their 30 minutes underway before we have the final 2 20-minute sessions, let's not forget, to round out the Hyperpole qualifying session for this evening. And this is going to be an interesting session to keep our eyes on now. The track is just filled of the 17 Hypercars out there at the moment. No one else will be joining them out there. And let's see what will happen. As I thought for a moment there Lorenzo had lost the car. But he hasn't. I looked away to read the virtual grandstands chats at the moment. Corbin Lenaway, great to see you in the chat through. It's a horrible lap that we're in. One thing to mention as well, the drivers cannot swap their drivers in this session. One driver has to commit to the first half an hour, and then they have to use a second driver for the Hyperpole a little later on. So the Ferrari Hypercar of Lorenzo Bonda, we are currently watching, coming down the Mulsanne straight, getting the heat into the tyres. Flicking the car left and right into the second chicane. They come for their outlap, this is, don't forget. We'll see what Lorenzo and his team can do. We'll see what everybody can do out there. Remember, the number 50 Hypercar is the car to keep your eyes on today. And driving that car at the moment is Daniel Molina in the Ferrari Rosso car. They was quickest in the practice session yesterday. So keep your eyes on them. Can he back that up with quickest in qualifying today? 3 cars yet to leave the pit lane. That is the BMW M Team DRT. Both of their cars still in the pits. And HRC Team PBM is also in the pit lane. One of the Ferraris. So 2 BMWs and 1 Ferrari in the pit lane at the moment. So this is the car to watch in this session. And Charlie Rudd in the Acura will be the first car to cross the line to start the flying lap. There he is, although he might not be now. There's Michael Simpson in the BMW M Team TSR. See what he's going to be capable of in this race, in this qualifying session. As he comes through now the last couple of corners through the Porsche curves. This is a JD Daniel in the Porsche packs. Let's see what he's going to do. In fact, it looks like JD Daniel will be the first car to start a lap here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Out the final corner he comes, gets a good run down the start finish line. Lovely looking blue on that Porsche, it must be said. On board with him then as he comes in towards turn number 1. Nicely through the curve he goes. You're going to climb up the hill, left then right, try and be greedy on the right hand side curb, use all you can on the exit under the Dunlop bridge. Hold it to the left, flick it back across to the right, keeping it right as tight as you can before braking down a gear or 2. Left then right once again, climbing back uphill. A little bit too greedy on the curb there. You just saw the car got a little unsettled. Flick it right through here. Be greedy on the inside and outside curb as much as you dare before the track limits gets taken. Now you are flat out coming down the Mulsanne straight towards then the first of 2 chicanes here on this 8.4 mile circuit. Number 55, JD Daniel, the American driver, keeps it to that left hand side. No slipstream for him to use, and drivers may not be too close to each other here. Instead of using that slipstream just to allow them to make sure they've got the gap they need when they're at the twistier parts of this circuit, to try and keep getting through this session as clean and as quick as they can. But a good start to this lap from JD Daniel. You can see nobody really close enough, really sort of really underneath the rear wing of the next car, clearly leaving that gap, because they know they've still got more than half a lap to go around this circuit. Good exit from the second chicane there from JD. Now down towards the bottom end of the track. We're going to have to hit the brakes very hard, and this is where we were saying you can easily see a couple of lockups here into the Virage de Mulsanne. Keeping it to the outside line, braking hard, over the curb you go. Try not to run too wide into that gravel. Nicely done from Daniel there. And now gets the good, a good bit of chance to just relax for a moment before having to nail this last part of the lap. He's got a good stretch of a straight before coming into Indianapolis. Another tricky corner to get right. Through the little kink you go in towards Indianapolis now, and as you come through this left-hander, you've got to hit the brakes pretty hard, down a couple of gears before turning left. Again, careful not to run out wide there. He does absolutely brilliant through Arnage. he goes now. And again, another good exit. Not too wide, not too close to the barrier on the outside. This has looked a tidy lap from Daniel here on his first outing in this session. Now towards the Porsche curves he goes. Setting himself to end what has been a pretty tidy lap so far. Nicely done at the first two. Watch the wall on the outside. It comes up quick as you go, as you approach closer to it. Left and right, right then left. It's really tricky section to just stay confident and carry that speed and momentum through these final couple of corners. And then just as you've been at such a high speed part of the track, it all slows down as you hit the brakes hard. The first of two chicanes. The first one a little quicker. Bit of a flow through it as you go. The second one tight. The curbs pretty high and mounted, so if you do take it too hard and clatter with it, it can unsettle the car. And a good lap of a 3:27.8. Will the Porsche Pax team be beaten? Yes, they will, by 0.6 of a second from the BMW team TSR. Number 25, Michael Simpson, in that car takes that provisional pole at the moment then. Keep your eyes though for that number 50. Here comes Stuart Ash in the Porsche Fischer car. At the moment, there is the number 50, just over a tenth off the back of the pole sitter at the moment. Porsche Fischer to the line, go P4 at the moment. We've got then, I believe everybody has set a lap time. Bar the few that were still then in the pit lane. Let's take a look. We've still got one car sat in the pit, and the top 7 have all set a lap time. So at the moment, these top 7 will go through. Here is Lorenzo, who didn't set a lap time first time round, so must have been validated. Although the Acura has also set lap times, there is another lap time comes onto the board, but it's Michael Simpson who currently is pole with a 3:27.1. Charlie Rudd in the 137 Acura coming towards the line. What lap time is he going to set as he crosses the timing tower? There it goes and does a 3:30. Only good enough for 10th place in the Acura at the moment. And remember, for all these drivers, don't get devastated or disheartened with where you've qualified if you're not in that Hyperpole session. It's a 24-hour race, so it is a long race where anything can happen and you can pick up any amount of positions in that one. This is the Acura, I've got to say. Big Honda fan. Acura obviously being the Honda. With the American name of it, and I love that livery on it, and it is a beautiful piece of machinery that we are seeing in front of us at this moment in time. So we'll see what will happen on the second laps, but a 3:27, pretty good, and that is Lorenzo into the gravel. I'm not seeing any mechanical flags, but saying that he's not on the timing tower to tell. But Lorenzo possibly has just pushed a little bit too hard. This is what has happened to our fellow commentator. Coming down into the first of the chicanes off the Mulsanne. Too greedy on the first curb. Round she goes. Did he keep it out the wall? Yes, he did. But them tyres may be absolutely screaming at him and may have a nice big flat spot on them as well for Lorenzo to have to contend with. He's still got a bit of time left in qualifying at the moment. We'll see what happens as he goes through. Can he make it through at the moment? Again, in the virtual grandstand, this is iRacing. That is Andre Diaz off as well in the BMW M Team DRT. So the BMW also off the road. That's early on in the lap. I think it was just after the Dunlop Bridge. So that's made Andre start to his lap not what he'd have wanted. And just looking again at the live timing, still Josh Mitchell. The HRC team PBM are still in the pits. And that is the other Acura then in this race at the moment. So they're still in the pits. Here is Michael Simpson, your pole sitter. And there goes the Cadillac World of Sim Racing. Takes provisional pole at the moment with a 3:26.5. Anika Estefania, apologies if I've mispronounced your name there, has taken that pole but has sadly lost it to the Ferrari Rosso of Daniel Molina. The number 50, quickest in testing yesterday. And currently 4.5 tenths quicker in the qualifying session so far. Remember, the top 8 go through to that Hyperpole a little later on. And this could be about to be to get intense here in this session. Welcome if you've only just joined in as well. As the BMW M Team BSS, Raphael Lippi takes provisional pole away by just over a tenth from the number 50 Ferrari. A good lap there from the BMW car. Car number 20 being driven by Raphael at the moment. Remember, drivers who are doing this session cannot do the Hyperpole next. And the number 20 car, 4-man lineup for the Brazilian team. A good start for Raphael at the moment. And I suppose to beg the question is, when do you think a lap time is enough? This is Fabio in the Porsche Atleti. Probably butchered that one as well, but the Italian driver, car number 58, again running a 4-man lineup. What will they be able to do in this session? Currently P4, so a good lap for them. And not a bad time at the moment. So let's keep our eyes out on what will happen in this session so far. This is the Hypercar session. Oshian in the chat. It is indeed. 30 minutes for these drivers. I think we've had about 15 minutes so far. So we're about halfway through the session, I do believe. So we wait to see what Michael Simpson can do down in P5. Remember, the top 8 go through in this Hypercar to the Hyperpole. So the cut-off is with the number 12 BMW M Team ORT. Come on, Lorenzo, where are you on the track? Let's see if you can get through to the next session. Here is Enzo in that BMW M Team DRT. Again, lovely looking livery on the car. Great to see some fantastic liveries out here this afternoon. And we'll see what Enzo can do. Car number 12. And of course, join us next week for the 24-hour race as Porsche Packs move up into 7th place. So they move up yet another spot in this qualifying session. Couple of cars in the pit. That'll be just to top off the fuel for the end, for the last part of the session. Maybe a fresh set of tyres. Here comes Lorenzo then. Thought he was going to bail to the pit lane, but just opening his entry up into the corner. Through the first chicane, second chicane, Ferrari WGR move up into 3rd. Porsche Fischer move up into 4th. BMW M Team ORT up into 6th. And did Lorenzo get a lap time in? He did, and it puts him P8. So our fellow colleague in the commentary box moves up into 8th place. And on that cut-off of the Hyperpole, this isn't Assetto Corsa, no, this is the iRacing platform. And what a qualifying session we have in front of us right now. This is absolutely fantastic to see. Here is Charlie Rudd in the Acura, coming towards the start-finish line. Down in 11th place at the moment. Has the HRC Gamma Sim got enough in the tank? It has indeed. Moves up to 7th, knocking out Lorenzo at the moment. And a black flag for the BMW, for the pole sitter. That might be speeding out of the pit lane. So that will mean that he's got to come back in to serve that penalty. He cannot request a tow. So Raphael Lippi there may have just, you know, now look, he's in the way of Charlie Rudd's time to try and get an extra lap in. That may have just helped Charlie Rudd a little bit. And Raphael is going to have to return to the pit lane to do that drive-through or stop-go, whatever the penalty may be, to be able to clear that penalty before the end. very tight qualifying session. 9/10 separating the top 10. And in terms of elimination, it is only a tenth and a half that separate the three cars from P8. Down here is Porsche Project 91. Ignore the Porsche GT3 livery logo on the side. This is their hypercar team. Just kicking up the gravel a little bit. And they stay the 191. Out of contention at the moment. Has everybody got on track? Still 2 cars without a lap time at the moment. Haven't seen one of the Ferraris, the HRC team by PBM Ferrari. And we haven't seen Andre Diaz in the BMW M Team DRT car as well. He's been out on track but not set a lap time. And we only have one of the Acuras in the session at the moment. I've got on the entry list that there is 2. And that is the 137. Which we have seen of Charlie Rudd. The other one being the 99, who I can't see in this session at the moment, so not sure what has happened there. JD Daniel down in 11th place, comes back into the pits running the 55. That'll be to possibly just top up a little bit of fuel, maybe a new set of tyres, and get back out there for a final couple of laps. Here comes car number 58 to start another lap time and to go top of the timing board. Fabio with the fastest lap time so far at the moment. What a time to do it as well. That could have secured him the place in Hyperpole. 8/10 as a lot of cars are entering the pit lane with not long to go in this session. And now the BMW M Team DRT of Enzo Alquini has taken that pole position by doing the exact same time, but just down to the thousandths. In fact, it says it's the exact same time. It says plus 0.000, but it's actually 6 thousandths of a second quicker than the Porsche car. So there we go. Here comes the Cadillac car, the 251 of Robin to cross the line. Where is the 251? Down in 12th place. It looks like it stayed 12th place, so it was at his outlap to get back going. The number 20 car is back in the pits to obviously serve that penalty. Who is going to be doing what as this session continues on? Not long left now. Must be 1, maybe even 2 laps left to go in this session. And who is going to be able to do what here at the Circuit de la Sarthe for the qualifying to get through to that Hyperpole. The top 8, remember, go through. There is Fabio, the man who was pole for a very, very short while, but was still pole. I think that could be good enough to go through, you know. We'll see what other cars can do, but Fabio looks like he's on a slow in-lap. Is that going to be his day done in this session? Because obviously the drivers that have driven in this first qualifying session cannot do the Hyperpole session. And if you didn't use your bronze driver in LMGT3, you have to use your bronze driver for Hyperpole. So that is going to be crucial to keep our eyes on that. We'll see who improves here. This is P13, the Ferrari V1M car. Coming through what I believe is not an outlap. It's not saying outlap next to his name, so it's either an in-lap and he's done, or this is one of his flying laps. We'll see in a moment. A lot of drivers on an outlap now. They will get at least one, like we said, possibly 2 laps at a push in on the board. And there is your pole sitter in the pit lane. I think that's them done. I'm not sure how long is left in this session because we're running the whole session through. but I believe, I could be saying this and there could be another 10 minutes to go, to be fair. I'm not 100% sure on where we are with the timings at the moment. And Mario now, if this was an outlap, he looks like he's just starting to put the hammer down through the Porsche curves. This does not look like an in-lap to me. So can the number 10 Ferrari? Nope, into the pits he comes. It was an in-lap. And is that him done? Oh, the Cadillac car there really being thrown around by Robin. Through he goes towards the final chicane. Attacks it really well. Nice hopping over the final two as well. Good exit from the final chicane. Currently down in P12 for the Cadillac car. And stays in P12 for the Cadillac car as well. What a shame for the 251 machine. Has he got enough time left though to get another lap on that board and get across that finish line inside the top 8? Down with the Porsche Project 91 car, the 191 Hypercar. With Samuel Barkstad piloting the machine at the moment into the Porsche curves. A little wider than he'd have probably liked to have been through there. Watch that wall on the outside. Nicely done. Little wiggle. Nothing major there. Wouldn't have cost him too much time. Nice and neat through the second part of the curves here. And through he goes once again towards these final two chicanes. The Porsche Pax car, yellow flags. That will be a slowdown. And into the pits comes the Porsche Project 91 machine. That could be their day done as well in this qualifying session. It looks like the sun is just starting to set a little bit. 23 degrees ambient, 25 degrees track temperature out there. Daniel Molina in the Ferrari Rosso car was quickest in testing yesterday. Can they finish as quickest in this first qualifying session? Pole position means nothing at the moment, because you've got to go and do that then in the next session. So then, Daniel Molina, can he make sure that car gets through to the next stages of the race, of the qualifying session, sorry, here at the end of what has been a good half an hour of qualifying for these Hypercars. 20 minutes next for the Hyperpole shootout. It will be a 20-minute qualifying session. LMP2 and LMGT3 will be on the track together. Try and have a few chats with drivers at the end of the day, the pole sitters in particular. Through comes the Ferrari Rosso now into the back half of the circuit to just try and take on and get that pole position back. They want to. They set the fastest time yesterday. They want to be fastest today as well. Not that it matters right now, but it will matter to them. This will mean everything to this team to be fastest every session they can be, because that really sets a marker and sets the tone. The MWM team TSR have just moved up into P5. So that moves them up another couple of spots. Michael Simpson piloting the car at the moment. That moves them up a bit. Puts them in a good position to go through. Lorenzo's just improved to P9. So provided he gets one more run in here, Lorenzo has one chance to get that car through to the next stage of qualifying. This will be vital for him to do just that. to try and find where he's making them mistakes, just to try and get that time to improve. HRC Gamma Sim, a 137. Acura's just moved into that P8 spot, the elimination spot there, so they move up the order a little bit more. And they look like they're done. So left it till their very last lap to be finished here. Cadillac 96 has just moved up into P11. Have they got time for one more run, I wonder? As we enter that Hyperpole session shortly. What a session it has been so far. The BMW car sitting on pole number 12. The BMW M Team DRT. There's the BMW M Team BSS. Raphael Lippi, car number 20, sat third place and stays third place at the moment. Coming over though to try and get one more run in to really attack the circuit one last time before handing over to their next driver for the second part of qualifying, the Hyperpole session of it. This is what's going to be interesting. The number 20's had a yellow flag. This is JD Daniel in the Porsche Pax car coming towards the end of his lap. Currently down in P12. Needs about 0.7 of a second here, this lap, to have got ahead and into that top 8. 0.6 of a second separate that top 8. Has the Porsche Pax car, the number 55, got enough in the tank? Crosses the line. Moves into P10. Still needs to find 0.2 of a second at the moment. Does JD Daniel. Now the HRC Gamma Sim have a yellow flag. That must be an off track somewhere. Obviously they look like they was driving round to return to the pits, because you're not allowed to request the tow here this afternoon. You have to get back round to the pit lane. Here is Lorenzo. He'll be a very happy man in the comms box, but he's sadly bailing to the pit lane. I reckon that is the Ferrari W2E Pro GP out of qualifying. What a shame for Lorenzo to not be able to make it through, but 11th place can't be, it's not too bad. Kyle Burney in the Ferrari WGR comes towards the line now, currently 6th place. Goes to the top of the timing tower. What a lap time from Kyle that was. Putting his Ferrari into P1 and probably securing them a spot in the Hyperpole coming up a little later on. What a lap time that was. Okay, so I can tell you, in fact I'll tell you at the end of the session, on the cars that are advancing from the LMP2 and the LMGT3 classes. As here then goes Fabio once more in the 58 Porsche to try and get another lap time on the board. Cadillac number 96, towards the line they come. P12 at the moment. Have they got enough to go through? No, stay P12. Not enough, sadly, in this one. Philip Blouth will have to try once more to get that Cadillac up into the top 8. A 3:25.60. What a lap time from the Ferrari WGR team.
Checkered
There goes a
flag
message from race control. Sadly, I can't hear it on my end, so I believe that is saying that it is the checkered flag for the session. And there's the HRC Gamma Sim that have just dropped out of the top 8 as Porsche Project 91 go through. Up into 7th place. So Porsche Project 91 have made it into the next part of qualifying at the moment. I assume drivers are going to be able to finish their laps that they're currently on if they're on a flying lap. And that is huge. Absolutely huge. And heartache for the Acura. Samuel Braxton in the Porsche Project 91, putting it in 7th place. Porsche Pax move up into P8, the 55. Driven by JD Daniel, moves into that cut-off spot now. Half a second separating the top 8. What a qualifying session this has been. And JD Daniel has just put his Porsche into that Hyperpole shootout. At the minute, other cars may still be on a lap. Daniel Molina down in 5th place, attacking the final couple of corners into the gravel on the outside. Any improvement for Daniel Molina, maybe even the number 9. Daniel Molina, top of the timing table at the end of the session. Porsche Fisher just in front did improve, but not enough to get into the top 8 shootout. And Daniel Molina leaves it till the very end. Fastest yesterday was the car 50. Fastest again in qualifying now. That is the car to watch in Hyperpole. And he left it so late. But don't forget, different driver. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, but if you have just tuned in, it has to be a different driver in the next session. What a time to set the pole for Daniel Molina there. Cracking time to put in the fastest lap of the session. A 3:25.567. Stamping his authority there. And the number 50, once again, looks like it's going to top that timing tower once more. BMW M Team DRT. Are they still on a lap so far? If so, they could be the ones to challenge for it. Or is everybody done for their session? Well, while we have a little quiet period, there is the number 96 Cadillac. He's returning to the pit lane, so that'll be his day done. Down in P13, he will not be moving on. So the cars moving through is the number 11 at Turn 1 LMP2, the number 6 Impact Sim Sport, the number 7 Impact Sim Sport, 89 NOP with the W21 W2E Pro GP team. Paul Potting Motorsport, number 62 with Revolution E-Racing, 52 and the 38 Bravo Snow.
Proceed to the
LMGT3 is,
proceed
I believe that's
to
12.
the
1,
Hyperpole
2,
session.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Thank
9. We've only got 9 LMGT3s advancing through. Rosso Esport, Impact Sim Sport, Virtual Power Sim Racing, Bravo Snow, Delta Racing, the Screeching Moose Motorsport, Paul Botting Motorsport Car 113 and Paul Botting Motorsport Car 100, Westgate Racing Car 33. We did have 3 cars excluded due to towing, and I'm wondering if these are the so car number 3, who was P8, that is the double stint by TSR, has been excluded due to towing, which you're not allowed to do. Car 35, which was P6 in qualifying, the Techman car, has been excluded due to towing, and the 83 of Off in the S's BMW has been excluded due to towing. So them 3 will not go through, so it'll be 9 LMGT3s making it through. And the Hypercar pole position, Rosso Esport for Hypercars in the Hyperpole session, Westgate Racing, Delta Racing, Absolute, Aislith, the 58 Ferrari, Bravo Snow, Tri-State Racing, Project 91 and Pax Sim Sport have all made it through there. So now let's wait and see when this Hyperpole session starts with the LMP2s and the LMGT3s. And I believe we do have a little trailer for the Le Mans 24 that we can show you in just a few moments' time.
Fuoco back on the inside, it's 3 wide on the road to Indianapolis. The 24 hours snatched from them! Snatched from them! The 100th anniversary is won by Ferrari!
Welcome back then to the European Sports Car Championship here on ACV, the Automobile Club Virtual. We are getting ready for the Hyperpole sessions, and what a qualifying session it was. Drivers leaving it till the very last minute to take pole position, and once again a reminder of who has gone through to the Hyperpole sessions. That was the Turn 1 number 11 car in LMP2s, number 6 Impact Sim Sport, the number 7 Impact Sim Sport, the 89 NOP, the 21 W2E Pro GP car, number 62 Paul Botting Motorsport, who can be a very happy team as well because they got 2 cars through in LMGT3, the number 52 Revolution E-Racing with Bravo Snow 38 going through as well. In LMGT3, 3 cars was excluded from that top 12 shootout. Car number 3, 35 and 83 for using the tow feature in the session. So Rosso Esport car number 75 has gone through with the 16 Impact Sim Sport. The number 77 Virtual Power Sim Racing car has gone through with 13 Bravo Snow. Number 4 Delta Racing and the number 5 Screeching Mooses have gone through as well. Number 113 and 100 both Paul Botting Motorsport cars into the Hyperpole shootout, with finally number 33 the Westgate Racing car. And in the Hyperpole session for the Hypercars, it is the number 50 Rosso Esports car topping the timing screens once again, with Westgate Racing number 32, Delta Racing in car number 12, Absolute Acelith in car number 58, Bravo Snow car number 20, number 25, Tri-State Racing, Project 91's car number 191, and Pack Simsport car number 55 all made it through into the Hyperpole shootout. And once again, the Hyperpole shootout will be 20 minutes worth of race of qualifying here to determine the top 8 in LMP2, the top what will be 9 now in LMGT3, and the top 8 in Hypercars for the grid slots for the 24-hour race next week here on ACTV, live for you all to watch throughout the entire 24 hours worth of racing. So we'll see what happens in this next session.
LMGT3
and if you're wondering why there is a Pro-Am and an LMP2 Pro category, that is because on the day of the race they will be categorized as 2 different categories. But here in qualifying, they are treated as one. So it can mix the grid up a little bit with the 2 LMP2 Pro-Am drivers trying to get into the mix with the LMP2 cars. Let's see if they can do it. Track temperature has dropped to 23 degrees. So the track has got a little bit cooler here as we have ticked by the time. And this is just going to allow for drivers to just make sure that they are on their game a little bit more with their tyre preparations heading into this session. What a race this, what a qualifying session this provides to be here at the Circuit de la Sarthe as we get ready for Hyperpole to get underway in LMGT3 and LMP2. We will get to set our pole sitters for the race next week. Who will be the drivers to come out on top here tonight? In what has been a great qualifying show so far. And the race will be even better in a week's time. We'll be sat here at this time next week. We'd have crowned our inaugural 24-hour winners as we get ready to head into probably the most famous race of the racing calendar, the Le Mans 24-hour. What a race this is going to be in just a week's time. But for now, we await the cars to come out onto the track, in which 20 minutes for each session. We'll try and get an interview with the pole sitters at the end of the qualifying session as well. We'll see who will come in. To the commentary booth in a few moments' time. Just double checking here. Doesn't seem to be anybody excluded in that Hypercar session. 1 hour 30 on the clock, and we are underway for the 20-minute qualifying session here in Hyperpole. Not a lot of time for these drivers to get it right. And I don't think there's going to be much time for a pit stop here. There are the Screeching Mooses. Great to see them back out on the circuit. Lucas Santos. Now, if you have just joined us, or if you was late to joining us in the qualifying session earlier on, the way this session now works is for LMGT3, if you did not use a bronze driver in that first session, you have to use your bronze driver now in Hyperpole for LMGT3. Otherwise, you have to change driver anyway. So LMP2's Hypercars cannot run the same driver they just did in that first session, as the Turn 1 car was just off there momentarily. And these LMP2s are going to want to quickly get ahead of the LMGT3s before the lap has ended. Again, like we said, the track temp has come down a lot since these guys was last out on track. It was 25 degrees when the Hypercars was out there. So it has dropped a little bit more for the LMP2s. And the lights are on for them. Is there somebody who's had, looks like they've had a bit of a lock up there. They are just rejoining in the background then. So already LMP2's just starting to struggle out there. They're just needing to settle into that rhythm and settle into a nice momentum to get the ball rolling and get going in this qualifying session. You've got 10 minutes less. So you really need to be on this session now. Really need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to stay out on track and to get them tyres, brakes up into the correct window, and make sure you're bringing this home to try and take that famous pole position here at Le Mans ahead of next week's race. Lorenzo will be joining us back in the commentary box a little later on, so we'll get to chat to him about his session, and we'll see how he feels. Speak of the devil, and he's joined us now. Lorenzo, welcome back into the commentary box.
Thank you. What's up?
How was that session for you?
Horrendous.
Nearly. It was close though. You wasn't far away.
It was close. I'm not gonna lie. It's because I had a very, like I said on qualifying, I had a very different expectation when I did practice and I did my last runs, and I realized that this was going to be much more on who's gonna be more adaptable to these different conditions. The track was oddly cold. It was 24 degrees, but it felt dirty. It felt really dirty. It felt like you had no grip at all in some places. So I was trying to do my best to do quali with the reference that I had, because I had no reference going forward into this race. I had more reference on the LMP2s because I'd driven LMP2s before multiple times than the Hypercars. So I tried to do my best with it. I had a really decent lap prior to on my second fastest lap, but anyway, I botched a few things. I think I could have been P7, but I'm not gonna judge the team. I'm not gonna judge anyone else. I'm more focused on what we do on race pace than qualifying pace. Qualifying over here basically don't matter. It's just surviving the first few laps, and that's pretty much it. But let's focus on to hyper qualifying, because I think Hyperpole, I think, is going to be quite interesting because they have no time to get into pit lane. They have to do fast laps. Pretty much it.
Yeah, 20 minutes session. They've got 10 minutes less, and really, like you say, you've got to be out there at the right time to get that lap time in. We're already through 5 minutes worth of this session already, near enough. So that's already, you know, a quarter of your time, taken away by just your out lap. So you've really got to get on with this and make sure that that lap time is good enough, because you don't have many to play with to get on the board.
Yeah, I would say you have at best 2 quick laps. And if you botch the first one, the pressure is going to be on to you real quick. Kind of like what happened to myself. I couldn't get a really fast lap on the first one to guarantee and then push for a better lap. But if you don't have that fast lap, your mental pressure to try to get into that fast lap is going to be humongous.
Yeah, it is indeed. We're currently watching the Pole Botting M Sport team, who have got 3 cars in this session at the moment, 1 in LMP2 and 2 in LMGT3, so they're looking to try and take maybe a double pole position here. And these are obviously the Pro-Am car in LMP2, so they're going to be ones to look to try and take that pole position in the LMP2 category outright. Remember, qualifying for LMP2 is counted between both sets of LMP2 pros and Pro-Ams, so it could really mix up the grid a little bit here by jumping in and getting a good result. Sam Gunstone currently in the Pole Botting M Sport car at the moment on his first flying lap. And we'll see what the British driver can do as he comes down the nice little bit of a slipstream. Will he be feeling that slipstream from just in front? Good gap between him and the car ahead. Will he be feeling that slipstream at all?
You do, depending on the gear stack that you're using, because if you're using a normal gear stack, the short stack, what's probably going to happen is you're going to get more acceleration, but you're going to top out the speed anyway at the end of the Wilson straight over here, going into at the end of this straight going into Indianapolis than anything else. You don't gonna get, you can gain about 2-3 tenths of a second on someone's toe, but if you just catch the entry of the corner, just like over here, the going from Indianapolis to Ornage, it's basically those 3 tenths shredded away. So it's tricky. It's very tricky. So this is why, if you're gonna ride someone's draft, you just gotta be sure that that driver knows how to deal with the draft, especially when coming to the portion curves as well, where the aero push is gonna be crazy. And there's another few things that I noticed on the LMP2 that are quite interesting. Like this, they are avoiding the green AstroTurf for one singular reason. The car actually hits the floor on the AstroTurf, and you do get not gonna get 4 damage, but your car is just gonna lose grip entirely coming into the corner. You simply have no grip coming into the corner.
So keep our eyes on what the LMP2 guys can do, as here comes the Revolution, the other LMP2 Pro-Am car, to make it through this session. Impact go top of the timing tower at the moment. And what can the Revolution car do? NOP in second place. Now Bravo Snow top the timing tower. Revolution gone quicker than Paul Botting with a 38.8. And that is actually the quickest time in LMP2 so far. So this guy is going to sit on pole for LMP2 at the moment.
Yeah, good lap from Oscar Ole Jack. So, but then again, this is just the first of the set of the fast lap. So we're going to see truly everything develop, I think, on this lap and maybe the next one as it goes in. And Virtual Power now on top of the standings. Ooh, off track for Ole Jack might impede this lap, and he might have to reset for the next one, as we're soon coming close to halfway into this Hyperpole session.
Yep, 1 minute 30 from halfway through this Hyperpole session in LMP2 and LMGT3. Virtual Power, here we go, with Thomas Silver in the 77 Porsche. He's currently the pole sitter by 0.8 of a second. Heck of a lap time there for Thomas to have put on the board, as Bravo Snow move up into second place. Westgater third in LMGT3 at the moment. Number 3 of the LMGT3s was excluded from the session to get into Hyperpole. So we are only down to the 9 LMGT3 cars in this session for now. So let's see what the Thomas Silver car can do as he works his way through at the moment. And the Porsche, it's going to have its ups and downs at this circuit. As we know, Porsche not the best in with its top speed compared to other cars. So it will lose on that Mulsanne straight, but it will gain so much through the first and final sectors.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that we often talked about the compromise that sometimes you have to do between straight line speed and cornering. Because what happens is, I think some of the teams, especially top teams, run near to minimal wing on the car.
Yeah.
Because they want out that drag, and basically they use tweaks more on the camber, a little bit on the rake, to compensate for corner entry and maybe make the car as loose as they can going into the corners and holding down with the steering wheel the best they can through the Porsche curves while retaining that speed. They're going to lose out on precision going through the corners, but that is quite catchable once you're back into the straight line going into the Ford chicane. So that's tricky moving forward, as we're going to see the next set of laps being done by the LMP2s, as Ethan Lawrence from Impact is heading the car that is actually right now in P2. And this is curious, right? It is P2 in the LMP2 standings, but it's P3 LMP2 overall, because it's slower than Revolution as well.
Yeah, it is at the moment, and the Paul Botting M Sport car is actually running P5 overall at the moment. But here comes Ethan Lawrence in the Impact car. Towards the final chicane he goes, nicely over the 2 curbs, doesn't drop it into the gravel trap on the outside, and comes towards the line. What can number 7 Impact car do in the session? Tops the timing tower, goes to the top of the standings, and that puts number 7 Impact on that provisional pole with 8.5 minutes left to go. NOP improved but stay down in 3rd place at the moment. I'm going to have to load up our timing tower to see the exact times at the moment. And NOP 39.3. It's actually 4th place overall for NOP so far, as Paul Botting all into the pit lane. So clearly an error, an issue for Paul Botting M Sport at the moment, because they were the pace setters in the first part of qualifying for the in that Pro-Am timing tower. Obviously the 8 LMP2s are all counted together here. This is your current pole sitter in the LMGT3, or it was, because Bravo Snow has just gone provisional pole by 0.4 of a second. Here come the virtual power. Thomas Silver to the line he goes. Has he got enough for pole? Don't think there's any improvement. We're not seeing it pop up on the timing tower thus far. No, it must have invalidated somewhere. There's no change in his lap time at the moment.
Yeah, and Paul Botting going into P3 in their class in the LMGT3s. Impact improving their lap, but still a long ways ahead from Bravo Snow Shot and Rosso with their bronze driver. Let me just take that. Going with 4th place for their first fast lap of qualifying with 7 minutes to go, give or take.
The W2E Pro GP team have just improved on their lap time, but it is still at the moment only good enough with a 39.832 for, what is that? That's about 6th place at the moment, because turn 1 car number 11 hasn't done a lap time in LMP2 yet, and obviously Paul Botting M Sport are the slowest runners out there at the moment so far in the LMP2 car, with those who have set a lap time. There is the Paul Botting M Sport, one of the 2 GT3s to make it through to Hyperpole. Timothy Johnson piloting the Ferrari 296 there, coming through the first chicane, back down onto the Mulsanne straight, and Paul Botting team will be very happy with this qualifying to get 3 of its cars in 2 different categories through to the Hyperpole. What an effort from the team they've done.
Yeah, great effort. I know Zachary Sweeney is going to be a little bit happy with that, but and the rest of the team as well, of course. But looking forward to see what they're going to be doing in this qualifying, being solid so far, not only in LMP2 Pro-Am and LMP2 overall, but also in GT3s as well.
So let's see what happens. 5 and a bit minutes left to go in this session, so enough for this lap, and probably one more depending on where you are on the circuit. And this is going to be an interesting one, as we can just see in the virtual chat there. LMP2 and LMGT3 checkered flag will be at 1 hour 10 minute remaining. So 5.5 minutes left for these drivers, who really now have to consider where they're going to be at the moment. There's 3 impact cars too, Corbin Lanaway saying. There is indeed. Yeah, there is. 1st, 4th, and 1 in LMGT3. So great to see the impact team doing well out there also. Paul Botting M Sport back on an outlap. They have struggled in LMP2. Something has not gone right, whether that's a technical issue with some steering wheel, obviously a different driver, so maybe the steering wheel hasn't lived up to, or isn't performing as it should be, and an equipment issue for the driver of the Paul Botting M Sport LMP2 car. Bravo Snow have just improved in LMP2. This is the only car without a time in that category. Revolution improve as well, and here comes turn 1 up into P5 over, in that category, and let's work that out where that will be overall. So Ethan Lawrence in the impact car with a 38.1. The Pro-Am time is a 38.4, so it's currently at the moment impact car 7, Bravo Snow car 38 P2. It is then Revolution. There we go, actually. Thank you very much, Shamuli, for putting it overall for us. So there you go. Revolution will be 3rd, and OP 4th, Impact 5th, Turn 1 6th, W2E Pro Group 7th, and Paul Botting in 8th. And then obviously there you can see the 8 LMGT3s to settle lap time as well, further down the category order a little bit. So decent lap times there. As virtual power, the Porsche goes back to pole in LMGT3.
Flying on that Porsche. The Portuguese driver doing a fantastic job retaining grip of the car. Look, another thing, look how he attacks that first leg.
Yeah.
I was talking to you, he can nearly go into the send over there, so it just shows how aggressive you can cut that portion of the corner. As Impact, I think just did a little bit better on their lap. Brasso just also improved, but not enough to move on. Paulo did another slow lap on the LMP2 for the W2 Pro car. So we're just coming down. I think those who are going for one more lap, they are pretty much going to get in. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, And like we said, we will try and get the pole sitters in for a quick chat at the end of the evening, because it is going to be a quick turnaround between the two qualifying sessions. So we'll try and get them in at the end of the programme. We'll try and get the pole sitters from each car in for a quick interview at the very, very end. Here is the Rosso Esports car of Felipe Bronstrup, in that Ferrari 296 once again, currently down in P4. Bit of a slowdown he's got to do, so that's going to affect his lap, and that probably is going to be it for the Rosso Esports car.
I think so. They might come back into the pit lane and just relax for the remainder of the day.
Oh! And that'll be it for the W2E Pro Group. Paolo Vinicius there then, P6 overall, P7 overall. And that'll be P7, because he's not going to get round to get another lap time on the board from there, I don't think.
Actually, he's P8 overall, given the fact that I think the pole botting LMP2 car is a little bit faster.
No, pole botting is behind at the moment.
Is it? Because...
I don't know, actually, because on the timing tower, St. Mooley's done it as overall. Yeah, W2 is P7 overall. Paul Botting has done a 3:39.890. So some 58 thousandths of a second slower. So Impact have come into the pits, so they're not going to try and get to the line to get one more lap time, and probably close to the limit of fuel. Here comes Bravo Snow. This will be to try and take pole position. And have they done enough to take pole position? Yes, they have! By 0.07 of a second. Pedro Ferrari in the Bravo Snow car takes provisional pole. Elias Loppinen in the Impact car as well moves into second place. So what a crazy qualifying here. By 100th of a second, Bravo Snow car 38 is on pole. But there is still time to get one last lap in. 1 hour 10 the session finishes. And I'm sure the drivers are allowed to finish that lap that they are on. So, at the moment, we'll see what happens. This is Sam Gunstone in the Paul Botting M Sport car. In towards the final two corners now. Has he got enough to move up the order? Currently, the Revolution Pro-Am car will start 4th place in LMP2. Paul Botting move up into 6th place. We've got the Impact. We've got Turn 1 car number 11, both in the pits. They are done for this session. And whatever problems the Paul Botting car was having to start with, it has finally come good at the very end.
Crazy lap, man. And Impact also improved. Both Impact cars also improved on their laps. It was just so close. As Bravo's no shot and goes now. But not only in LMP2, but also in LMGT3.
Now Virtual Power have just taken that pole position back. So the 77 Porsche, Thomas Silva, manages to take pole position by 0.08 of a second at the very end here. Drivers on final laps, just started final laps as well. So there is time for this Porsche to find even more time in this session. Qualifying is far from done yet.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to have time, not going to time, but feel enough to get one more lap in and then get the in lap as well. Because we have to remind ourselves, they have to do the in lap. The cool down lap. If they don't have that, they can be penalized.
Yeah, exactly. So let's make sure that the cars have enough fuel in. This might be why we're seeing some of the LMP2s returning to the pits. Here comes Delta Racing. Fernando Neto to the line, down in 8th place at the moment, and moves up into P7 with a 3-minute 57.6. As drivers entering the pits. That is them done, though. They've crossed the line after that 1 hour 10 mark. Their session is done. We're being told that the 77 will be the last car to take the checkered flag. That is your provisional pole man of Thomas Silva. The Screeching Moose has improved up into P5 in the LMGT3 category, getting 1 lap time in at the very end. So they'll be happy with a P5. That's not a bad start for them. Bravo Snow pole position by 100th of a second, though. Have they got the fuel to get round and finish a lap? And then bearing in mind, they've still got to get round and get back to the pit lane. Here comes Pedro Ferrari in the Bravo Snow car. Your provisional pole sitter. 2 wheels on the dirt there. He is pushing extremely hard to try and improve that lap time.
Yeah. But I think he's coming right now into the line. Now he's gonna take one more lap. He's gonna risk it all. It comes down to the final corners, what the time is going to be. Looking so good so far.
Yeah, just dipped a wheel in the gravel. That may have cost him a little bit of time, and does improve. Finds an extra 0.2 of a finds 0.3 of a second, should I say, and puts a bit of daylight between himself and the impact car who enters into pit lane. So didn't even need to do that extra lap, but has done it anyway, just to put that distance between him and the number 6 impact car. Impact second and third, though. What a result for them two. Revolution, P number 4, Renault P at P5. Paul Botting might still be out there on a lap. Is he going to finish this one? He's been in and out the pits a little bit throughout this session, so might definitely have that fuel on board to be able to get this lap time in and then return back to the pit lane. So here comes Paul Botting. Will take that penultimate chicane. Into the final one he goes now. Has Sam Gunstone managed to get himself up the order a little bit more out the final corner towards the line? Sam Gunstone and Paul Botting do improve, only one spot ahead of NOP. And that puts them in P5 overall for the LMP2 grid. So 2 of the Pro-Am drivers in the middle of the Pro drivers out of the top 8. Here is the Bravo Snow, Enrique Gomez in the Ford Mustang. Coming to the final chicane, needs 0.08 of a second to take pole. The big, bulky Ford Mustang, has it got the power to take pole position at Le Mans for the race next week? Yes, it does, by 0.2 of a second. But watch out for Virtual Power's Porsche in the background. Have they taken it back? Yes, they have. At the very end, Thomas Silva in the Porsche Car 77 will be pole position for the 24-hour next week. He left it till the very end. And Lorenzo, he has put in some fantastic lap times. It's been between the 2 of them to all session. And they have ebbed and flowed first and second. And Thomas Silva and the Virtual Power team will be pole position.
What surprised me is that he didn't just did a better time than Enrique at the line. He just obliterated him by
half a second.
Nearly half a second. That's
yeah.
It shows how good is this Porsche under the right amount of grip and everything. So it's really good. It's surprisingly good.
Yeah, it really is good. That then is your Hyperpole. Bravo Snow will take LMP2 pole position, and Virtual Power will take the LMGT3 pole position in a fantastic qualifying session at the very end. And now for the LMP2s and the LMGT3 teams, they can all take a break, take a breather. Free practice starts on the 2nd of June, so Tuesday.
Photo shoot after Hypercar
with 3 practice sessions. Then they get the Friday off ahead of the race this Saturday and Sunday. And there you can see the front 2 in LMGT3. Just a bit of respect shown between the 2 of them. A nice flash of the lights and congratulations. That was an awesome qualifying, especially in that LMGT3 category, because the Ford went faster, only for the Porsche to just take it away moments later.
Hypercar, Hyperpole.
Yeah,
thank you. And
like I said before, it just show how good the Porsche is, especially on sometimes on these tracks that demand a little bit of grip. When it gets colder, the Porsche do tend to have a little bit of a better rear end grip than the Mustang does, and the lines from Tomas right there seemed really clean. So surprised, but not that surprised on how he actually did the pole, considering how clean his driving was.
And we'll try and get the Bravo Snow team in for a chat at the end. We'll try and get Pedro Ferrari in for a chat, as well as then the Virtual Power number 77 driver of Thomas Silva in for an interview at the end of the night. Oh, what a qualifying session! We've still got more to go, because we've got that of the Hypercar Hyperpole to come in just a few moments' time.
Yeah, should be some fast times. Looking forward to see what the the Hypercar lineup is gonna bring on.
All Hypercars,
it's
please,
gonna be crazy because what happens is these guys were very close on qualifying my point of view. Anyone could have gotten in.
3-minute warning. We will be going green.
From P1 all the way back into P15, which was the last car who actually did a proper lap in the field.
Yeah, so let's see what will happen. I hope I've tagged the right person here for the pole position. I don't think I have actually in the second one. I've got Thomas Silva ready to go. But it was the Bravo snow driver of Ferrari that we wanted to get in as well for a chat. Lorenzo, I don't know if you're able to find out who that is in the Discord to get them in for a quick interview at the end of the Hypercar session. But what a Hypercar session that was. Enrique Gomez, commiserations to him. But second place, he'll start on the front row. The two Impact cars lining up second and third in LMP2. That could be an interesting one to keep our eyes on and see what will happen between them at the start of the race in particular, with the very start being very critical as to what can set up for your race for the rest of the 24. Let's see what happens in the race next week. It's been a great qualifying session so far. We are about to get Hypercar qualifying underway in just a few moments' time. And I believe that they will be hopefully getting underway at possibly the top of the hour. And then we can go from there as well. What a day of qualifying that will be. There are the Hypercars lining up, just waiting for them to get out onto the circuit once more as well. Will they be going on the 1 hour 1 minute mark? I wonder. Are they going to wait till the top of the hour?
I think they're going to wait at the top of the hour.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Oh, never mind. Did we get green flag?
Car number 50 has.
I'm not in the server anymore, so I think we're just getting race control to nominate and get the drivers lined out. I think those who are still remaining on the track. So we're due to get green flag at any time.
$30 seconds.
We've got the 30-second mark, so it will be at the top of the 1 hour, and then we will get the qualifying session underway with an hour to go on the timing tower. That will take us down to the 40-minute mark for when the timer has run out on their 20-minute session in what has been a great qualifying. Lorenzo, you're obviously driving the Hypercar next week. You're looking forward to the 24-hour race. It's going to be an incredible green flag test of everybody's skills, ability, mental ability as well, that mental side of the game to keep going for the 24-hour race.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, especially with the fact that when we browse through rulings and everything, right? Hypercars, of course, are the ones excluded because there is no real time for you to dedicate into the car itself. It's more like getting comfortable and doing your laps. That's pretty much it. On the rulings, there is no minimum drive time for them, so it's just pretty much getting comfy and everything else in it. The interesting aspect is those who are going to be in the LMP2 and below, because depending on the lineups, getting those minimal drive times set properly is going to be quite of a challenge.
Yeah, it is going to be a bit of a challenge next week. And like we said, we've got teams of 4, teams of 3, so we've got a real mixture of, you know, the drivers that's in that team of 3 just have that little bit of extra work to do, you know, physically, mentally, just to make sure that they're prepared and keeping themselves going throughout this race. And let's not forget as well, it's a 24-hour event. Whatever happens on lap 1 is not going to determine the outcome necessarily of the end of the race.
Yeah. Like I said jokingly before, qualifying is good because you dictate your own destiny, but it's not the end of all things. So you can pretty much win the race from P16, 2017.
Yeah.
We've seen that before in real life, so it's just working out the strategy, race pace, and in every single race like Le Mans, you do need a little bit of luck.
You do indeed. We are going to be joined by the representative, the team manager of Pedro Ferrari's car, which is the Bravo Snow LMP2 pole sitter. Welcome into the commentary box. You are live on ACV TV. First of all, congratulations on pole position. That was some good qualifying at the end.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much. We were trying to prepare like for the whole month, so Pedro did a great job, and also shout out to John Palauer to qualify for the Hyperpole as well. We were going to have another drive in it, but you know, Palauer needed to step up due to personal reasons for the other guys. So he did an amazing job, and Pedro, man, he was absolutely amazing in the qualifying for the LMP2. He was prepping like crazy this past month, training every single day, and I'm so happy that we got this because everyone needed this and everyone prepared for it. And also shout out to the LMGT3 pole sitter, Tomas Silva, because he did a great job with the other car we have against Henrique. So congrats to them. And yeah, let's see what we can do in the race. I think we have a pretty good shot in all classes we are in. We still have the Hypercar pole now. We hope that Thiago Melo as well get a good result for us. So yeah, that kind of sums up, and hope we have a great 24-hour race next week.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. You're sitting in that prime position, obviously, for the start. The start's going to be so important to just get yourselves into that rhythm, isn't it, next week? And being sat P1, just at the back of the Hypercars, but obviously ahead of everybody else, you're going to be allowed to get into that rhythm pretty quickly, hopefully, and just settle into a nice little race to start with and find out where your strategy is going to be and everything.
Yeah, we have only 3 drivers for this race in the LMP2, so I think everyone will try to get fired up really quick. So let's see what we can do that with this dynamic. I know in the real life they race with 3 drivers as well, so it's gonna be hard, but I think it will be a great challenge for them. I think they are very prepared for this.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thank you for stepping in for Pedro and chatting to us today. We wish you the best luck for next week.
Yeah, thank you.
And then we have got Thomas Silva waiting as well. Thomas, welcome to the commentary box. You're live on ACV TV. Congratulations on what was a fantastic battle between yourself and the Bravo Snow car for pole position.
Yep. Hello, everyone. That was a breathtaking fight in the car. You cannot imagine always expecting the car ahead to do a better lap, and we were so close at the end to not being able to get a final lap. So yeah, it was right until the end, and hopefully, fortunately, we came out on top.
It seemed like throughout the whole session, you and the Ford Mustang was just setting better lap times, and the Ford would do a better lap time than yourself. 20 seconds later, you'd have gone back to pole position. It was really ebbing and flowing between the two of you all session long.
Yeah, like I said, it was really close. Every lap, we were expecting him to improve, so we had to improve even more. And they went with the same strategy as us. They fueled the car for the whole 20 minutes, and yeah, so it was expected at the end of the session to lap times to get better because we had less fuel on the car. So yeah, it was really close, but still, thankful for coming out on top.
Now this puts you obviously P1 for next week, puts you on that front row of the LMGT3 grid. Gives you that chance now, doesn't it, to get them first couple of corners done, get yourself onto the Mulsanne straight and just settle into a nice rhythm for the start of the race next week.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 24-hour race, so the qualifying doesn't mean too much doesn't tell you too much about the chances of our ending position in the race because it's a very long race. But yeah, it puts us in a very nice position to start the race calmly and being able to go through those first corners without anyone ahead and not having chances of getting into an accident or something. So yeah, it's a very good result.
Well, Thomas, congratulations on that pole position. We'll let you go, and we can't wait to see what you can do out there next week.
Thank you.
So 2 very happy pole sitters there. Lorenzo, who will be very pleased with where they're going to be starting next week. And like we say, they just get that chance now to get themselves in a nice rhythm at the start of the race and hopefully settle into a bit of consistency early doors.
Yeah, that's going to be key for them, as it's important that being in the front, of course, doesn't help you save the most amount of fuel, but it can help you on that as well by dictating the long run, right? How your pace is going to be on the long run. If other teams are going to accept that, if you play slower, if teams are going to be playing your slow game. So in the least likelihood of you facing issues is more like it, because you are leading the pack. You are not involved in the shenanigery that is happening right behind you, unless someone actually has a really good start and then push them out on the top. But anyway, it's good, but then again, it's not the most decisive thing ever. It's what is decided over the 24-hour event than anything else.
Exactly. Hypercars have started to set their first flying laps of the session. Currently, BMW M-Team BSS are 1.1 seconds clear of Ferrari Rosso. Now, Ferrari Rosso left it till the very end of Hypercar to set the fastest lap time in that first qualifying session. But they've only got 11.5 minutes left to try and replicate that. Matthias Netto now in the Ferrari Rosso car, the number 50 machine, who was quickest in practice yesterday, quickest in qualifying earlier on in the programme, and would love to be quickest at the very end. We'll see what happens in this one then, as just looking at who is out there on the tracks. We've got only Porsches, BMWs and Ferraris, 3 of each in this session. I thought they were sure it's top 8. No, there's only 8 cars actually, I believe, out there on the circuit in this session. And yes, we'll see what will happen as we go through. Yeah,
and
58.
One more thing that I also noticed, and of course, I think with this also might come with the fact that, let's just say, oh, we have now only Ferraris, Porsches, and BMWs. This could affect the BOP as well, because for them right now it could be, oh great, they're gonna just run away with it. But the next BOP come race time, because it always can change. This could be more advantageous to the other 2 cars, in the Cadillac and the Acura. So we have to be mindful about that as well. Just because these 3 brands are right in front doesn't mean it's going to be for the remainder of the week as well.
And this is going to be the interesting thing, isn't it? We've got the 3 free practice sessions throughout this week leading up to the race as well. This is where a lot of things can change. Let's not forget, for the viewers at home and for the people listening, this is just qualifying runs. This does not mean anything in terms of their race runs and race abilities going into next week. It could all be different.
Yeah. I tend to say, and like I said earlier when I joined the broadcast again, I hate doing hot laps.
Yeah.
I despise. I hate it. I think it's dumb.
I fully agree with you.
I rather test my race pace and improve race pace, and then build upon the racecraft of it, than being known as a hot lapper. Because if you are a 1-lap wonder, but you shredded your entire car, but it makes no sense. I do get why some people would say, but if you are fast on a hot lap, the tendency of you being faster and the remainder of it is going to be more likely. Is it though? Is it really though?
Well,
I've seen occasions of guys that are really fast, and they do not show up on race time, on race pace. They might have that 1 lap, but they struggle everything else.
I know guys that are quick over 1 lap can do it for 20, 30 minutes, but then by the time an hour comes, their pace has just started to drop off. And this again goes back to what we were saying a few moments ago, that mental fatigue of in a team of 3, for example, going into next week, when you've done so many hours of this race, going into next week, that mental, physical fatigue starts to kick in. You're not as fresh as you was at the start of the race or in this qualifying session. It's that mental battle of being able to keep that consistency is going to be the next thing. You know, 1 lap pace, great. You've got the pole position, fantastic. You've got to do this for hours and hours and hours next week. Can these drivers replicate that there? And before anybody thinks I'm being critical of these drivers, these are brilliant drivers. These are fantastic drivers, as we can see there. Thiago Mello, what was the current pole sitter, is off on circuit at the moment. Doesn't look like he's been in the wall. That's one of the chicanes down at the Mulsanne. Looks like it's the second of the chicanes there then. Just nearly rejoining into the path. Yeah, I thought the same thing. These drivers are brilliant. These are fantastic drivers out on this circuit doing this event this week. So take nothing away from what they're doing, but like you say, 1 lap is a lot more tougher than doing this after towards the end of a 24-hour.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's just being the consistency. It does, like I just said, it doesn't matter how fast you are if you are not able to consistently be able to deliver that on for example, on a Hypercar 12-lap basis and for multiple hours. Or imagine if you are in the LMP2s or GT3s, rather, where you are time-based. For example, I'm doing one of the optionals over here, one of the options, which would be gold, silver, and platinum drivers, where you have to do a minimum of 6 hours, and you have to kind of like be able to dictate your drive time, minimal drive time. Imagine the max drive time as well. So it's complicated, even for those who are out of the car as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult but enjoyable session to watch. Now, the darkness is descending here in France at the Circuit de la Sarthe. The track temp is down to 22.7 degrees Celsius track temp. So the track temp has dropped even more. It's gone down at least 3 or 4 more degrees since the last time the Hypercars was on the circuit. Here comes P6 Seth Neufeld in the BMW M Team TSR. Improves, but stays P5 at the moment then for the time being. Ferrari Rosso back to that top of the timing standings by 0.7 of a second. They are staking a claim here for the fastest times yesterday and today. Let's see if they can replicate it. This brings another challenge now to these Hypercars, doesn't it? Nightfall starting to get onto the circuits. That artificial light is starting to take over more. Just kind of takes your reference points a little bit out of focus, and you've got to be on it a little bit more. So this qualifying could be even more interesting as we go through. 5 minutes 20 seconds left on the clock. John Javicki is in the Porsche Pax car, the 55 machine, currently down in P number 6.
Yeah, what is going to happen over here is because I don't know if Samuli has the conditions right now on the racetrack. I think this is going to be an important one for us to look. There you go. Just capping over here. Track temperature right now sits about 23 degrees, if I see it correctly. I think so. That dip right now, and because it is colder, and also I think there's less humidity, makes the traffic and the track more clean, less complicated, more grippy for you to run. This is why we're seeing it 324. Not surprised for us to be seeing that in comparison to the qualifying time earlier on.
Well, let's see what the Hypercar pole will be. There is 4 minutes 18 seconds left, and we're getting down to that nitty-gritty part of the session where, there was a slow car on the racing line there that the Porsche Pax John Javicki had to miss out and avoid there. Just had to come off of line. In fact, no, he's on line actually, so it was pulling to the proper side of the circuit. It looked a little bit sharper than what he would have wanted. Nicely through the second chicane. Little wiggle on the mid corner on that middle part of the chicane there. Just kind of put him offline a little bit, trying to use the slipstream as much as he can to maybe improve, find some time back. This car's down in P6 at the moment, and out of all the Hypercars, only the BMW M Team DRT have not set a lap time, down in 8th place. And you have to say, Matthias Neto there, he could be done for qualifying. Half a second quicker than the Porsche Project 91 car. That is an extremely big margin. But I say that actually, it's a 3.5 minute lap time. Anything could happen. Half a second over 3 minutes 24 is not a lot to find.
Yeah, but it's a good lap nevertheless from Matheus Neto right there. It's just, again, track conditions make it a little bit easier for you to navigate. There's still some natural lightning to go around. The Ferrari has some really good grip. It's just finding the right amount of corner entry and not overdoing the car a little bit, especially over here, the Porsche curves. But then again, I think we're going to be seeing some of these guys have better times. I do believe Tri-State and everybody else is going to be able to improve on their final laps.
The Ferrari Rosso car is done. They are pulling it into the pit lane, as is the number 58 just behind him. They are also done, as BMW M Team TSR didn't improve on their last lap. So that is Ferrari Rosso either out of fuel and not going to get another lap time in as Ferrari WGR go up into P number 6. Here comes Johnny Javicki in the Porsche Pax 55 Hypercar. Towards the line he goes, currently down in P7, 3 seconds off the fastest time to the line he goes. Does improve back up into P6 and goes 2.2 seconds off of the pole time. 2 cars are done, 1 minute 50 left on the clock. And this, I believe, will be a couple of cars towards the end to finish, to start one more flying lap. There is Thiago Mello, P3 currently, and will be getting his last lap in right now. So he's got 1 lap to try and take pole position. Porsche Project 91 into the pits. They're also done.
Yeah, and you can see right there the BMW M Hybrid V8 basically cutting all the first leg of sorts, just driving around the second one. Looks to be a fast lap. I think we should be watching this one, as this could be the one who actually could beat the Rosso team in this end of Hyperpole.
Let's see what happens then to this Thiago Mello BMW M Team BSS. The number 20 car, I believe, will be the last car to finish a lap here. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this qualifying session. Only needs 7/10 of a second, so can he find that? Can he find 2 tenths to maybe put himself on the front row of the grid for next week's 24-hour race, 2 p.m. GMT? If you work that out into what time zone, whatever time zone you are in across the world, that is when we are live for the start of the race. Ewan will be bringing you the action at the very start. Lorenzo will be around somewhere when he's not in the car. How many drivers do you have for your car?
4 guys besides myself.
So there we go. So you and 3 others. So Lorenzo will be around as well. Then myself and Ashley Denman will be taking over for stint number 2. Myself and Ashley Denman, I do believe, will be finishing the race as well. Be great to be back in the box with Ashley again. It's been a while. It'd be sad to not work with you, Lorenzo, for a change. We've been together for so long now. As that was João Delgado crossing the line P8. And I believe crossed the line after the timer had run out, so he won't get another lap time in. This is P5, Seth Neufeld in the BMW M Team TSR, currently down in P5, 1.9 seconds off of the pole. Needs to find 9.5 tenths to get himself onto that second row of the grid with the number 58 Porsche in the pit lane. And has Seth, the Canadian driver, got enough in the tank to get a lap time in here? Session has finished. The checkered flag is fallen. This will be Seth's final run, unless he bails to the pit lane. This is it, do or die for Seth here to try and gain as many places as he can.
Yeah, let's see if he's going to risk it. No, he's not going to risk it anymore. I think the only one who's going to potentially risk it might be the Bravos No Shot-in team, or even Jason Burney, as he's going to approach the final few corners over here in the Fortune Games.
Needs 2.2 seconds to take pole. Car number 32, Jason Burney, rounds the final corner towards the start line. He goes. What will be the time on the screen as we await for it? He improves, but it is only good enough for P5, 3rd row of the grid for the 32 car. That is John Javicki in the pits for the Porsche Pax. They'll be down in P7. And here comes Thiago Mello. 7/10 of a second he needs to find through the penultimate chicane. He goes into the final 2 corners. Have we seen one last roll of the dice? A little too much curb on the exit of the final corner. Has he improved on his time? Yes, he has. Loses out by 3/10 of a second. Ferrari Rosso will take pole position into the 24-hour next week, but it will be a front row start for the BMW M Team BSS of Thiago Mello. Second place for him.
77.
And Ferrari Rosso then will be the car who have been quickest yesterday. Quickest in the first part of qualifying, quickest in Hyperpole. They will take to the front row of the grid.
Yeah, basically great lap. I think what undid Mello was the entry of the first leg of the final chicane, because that was just way too quick going in and compromised the second leg. I think if he had done the first one right, could have been just on the verge of potentially being close to to Rosso's time, but nevertheless, great lap from Matheus Neto right there, and basically a Brazilian front row of sorts.
Yeah, but it is a Brazilian front row, isn't it? So
yeah,
well done for the Brazilian drivers.
Yeah, just the one Brazilian who should have done better, than been in 12th place, but it's okay.
We've actually got a Brazilian pole sitter in Hypercar, a Brazilian pole sitter in LMP2, and a Portuguese pole sitter in LMGT3. The Brazilian was second there, so the Brazilian drivers having a good outing in this one today. But it is the Ferrari Rosso car who will be your pole sitter in this race. And I've just asked for Neto to come in for a chat. He doesn't speak English. We might be joined by Daniel Molina once again to join us.
If he wanted to, I could try to do Portuguese in Portuguese. People forget that I'm Brazilian.
You are, indeed. Ask him in the chat. Ask him in the chat if he wants to come in, and we'll have a translated interview for you all out there. But what a session, what a qualifying that has been. We hope you join us for the 24 next week. We will just see if we can get Daniel in for a chat or a Portuguese interview. But what a session it was. Ferrari Rosso, your pole sitters in Hypercar. Bravo Snow, LMP2, pole sitter. And Virtual Power, your pole sitters in LMGT3. Remember, the LMP2 Pro-Ams next week in the race will be categorised by themselves. Their grid order will be mixed with the LMP2 Pros, so it will all be jumbled up for them. But the race category will be LMP2 Pro-Am and LMP2. They are their own classes for the race. It was just for qualifying to mix the grid up a little bit more. Jason Burney there, Ferrari WGR. Not a bad session, P5 for him. What was a good qualifying for the young man, and hopefully we'll see a bit more of that. And we'll see what happens. We are just awaiting this final interview. But Lorenzo, looking forward to the 24 hours next week. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great, man. I'm looking forward to it. Love the partnership that we have with VSCA. I know a lot of the teams that drive in VSCA also drive over here in ESCC, so it's going to be a great showing of teams. A lot of competition. I'm looking forward to see what the strategies are going to be from the teams. It's going to be great, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to it indeed. It's going to be a fantastic weekend of action. You're not going to want to miss it for a single second. We will hopefully get the pole sitter in for a chat, or somebody in for a chat on behalf of the pole sitter. But what a qualifying it was here today, and I wonder what the risks of potential rain next week could be as well, because we haven't really spoke about the weather too much. If it has a chance of rain next week, that could really throw, another factor into the mix, couldn't it?
Yeah, I'm definitely not looking for rain.
You might have to get some practice in on the wet weather just in case it does.
For sure, for sure, man. We'll get Matheus really soon. As he's still on track. This is why when you go full risk and you try to make it back to the pit lane, this is going to be, I think, a slow in lap for some of these teams. I know Mateus was still trying to do a better lap moving forward.
I know that there's going to be a picture taken as well of the pole sitters from each category.
Yeah.
So that's why we're seeing the Porsche out on the circuit at the moment, and I believe we saw the Bravo Snow LMP2 pole sitter out on track as well, because I believe we are going to get around to take a photo of the pole sitters in this race. And yeah, what a
car 38. You'll pull up on the left side.
what a session it has been. It's been absolutely fantastic to see such a great qualifying here. There is the Pedro Ferrari Bravo Snow LMP2 pole sitter. I believe that's the Porsche just to the left of screen. Yes, it is. There we go, just behind the timing tower. There's the Porsche of Thomas Silva. And then, yeah, I think we're just awaiting that then of...
We're just waiting
Ferrari
confirmation
Rosso
to see if the picture is going to be done first prior to the interview. So I think that's the only thing that we're looking for. As Mateus is now approaching the end of the Porsche cars, as he's going to be the last one to take part in the picture.
What a time for these teams as well. Let's not forget that's one achievement done. You've got the pole position. You've got honours for this Le Mans race, 24-hour race. You are the pole sitters. Nobody can take that away from you. And then you know have to go and try and replicate that into the race next week.
Yeah, 100%. It basically means you put a bigger target on your back already.
Yeah, exactly. You are the guys to beat. So there we go. Look, pulling up to the start-finish line. Mateus Neto.
Did he? I was gonna say, did he run out of fuel? But no, I actually didn't.
You're just slowing down, I think, just to creep towards that line there. So there we go. They're going to be on the track for a nice little photo of your pole sitter on the left in LMGT3, your Hypercar pole sitter in the middle, and your LMP2 pole sitter on the right. There then.
Keep going forward. Stop, please.
As race control, just sending some last messages. We'll hope to get Mateus in for a chat.
Okay, now
in Portuguese, but Lorenzo will try and translate for us.
Just we gotta wait for race control, man. Sometimes we try to do our best.
Yeah.
With what we have, I think right now they're gonna run away and maybe just get some photos moving. But here we go. Just a few more minutes.
What a great session, though. Make sure you do join us live on ACV TV next week. Again, 2 p.m. GMT. Convert that into the time zone of where you are around the world to join us live throughout the 24 hours of the Circuit de la Sarthe. For the fantastic event that we're going to have in store.
Just line them up as best you can.
And we're just seeing some pictures being taken of our 3 pole sitters in the event today. The Porsche, Ferrari, and then obviously the LMP2 pole sitter as well.
Thank you, guys. You can proceed.
Great to see so many cars on the grid as well. I don't think we've mentioned the fact that there's over 55 cars on the grid for next week. Is going to be absolutely outstanding to see that amount of cars take to the grid and be just raring to go around this fantastic circuit.
We don't even have 50 in the SEC.
No, exactly.
All I gotta say is congratulations, Chris. Congratulations, Benjamin. I know I think Ben is still part of the organization within VSCA. Since I drove over there one season in VSCA. And I think Kyle Burney as well is part of the organization too. So I know they raced it in here as well. So it's great that we have this communication. Lots of things happening in the endurance world. Virtually speaking, we're just on the verge also of the 24-hour Le Mans. Not next week, but the week after that, on the 13th. And so looking forward to it, and again hoping this event next year also brings more teams, more splits, and things like that.
Not sure if we are going to get this interview in. Hopefully we do. At the moment, but we'll see what is going to happen at the moment. I think Lorenzo's just going to try and sort this one out for us to get somebody in for a quick chat. At the moment, like we say, 2 p.m. next week. Make sure you join us live, and then you've got the real Le Mans to look forward to the week after that. So that should be a fantastic 2 weekends of racing, as we will be signing off for now. But keep your eyes on our social media platforms for all the free practice times that you may want to keep your eyes on throughout the week. 3 free practice sessions, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, not streamed, so that's why I'm saying head over to social media to keep your eyes on them, because they're going to be worth keeping your eyes to see who can do what in free practice across the week. Obviously, we'll probably be looking at race runs being done in them free practice sessions, and that's where we could start to see a little different tale being told next week, and that could tell, like we say, a different story going into the free practice runs. We are going to try and get somebody in as quick as possible. If nobody joins us, we will then come off air this evening in what has been a fantastic qualifying session throughout. Give it a couple of minutes just to see if anybody does join us. If not, we will end things there. But what a day this has been. And the Ferrari on pole, Porsche on pole, and then, like we said, the Bravo Snow car in P1 in LMP2 as well. As you can see there is the schedule. Free practice 1, 2nd of June, free practice 2, the 3rd of June, and free practice 3, the 4th of June, giving them the Friday off before we head to our 24-hour event on the 6th and 7th of June. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing throughout the entirety of the 24-hour.
Yeah, we're going to get Daniel Molina to come in. I thought we were gonna get Molina. If it was going to be Molina or Diego, because I know Diego is the manager for Rosso Esports, so we're just getting sorted out how this one is going to go. It's that thing, man. I know sometimes it just gets a little bit hectic post race, but it's those things. I love the quirks of live TV, and I think Molina is in the room over here with us now.
He is. I'll let you speak to him, Lorenzo.
Yeah. So Daniel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can 100%. I think now we got Mateus as well in the room, so I'll pull him in as well.
Yeah.
And I can ask you both. Yeah, then you can rely back to Mateus in Spanish. So, or so. Then if Mateus wants to translate it, I'll do whatever we can. But first and foremost, Daniel, you guys had a very strong lineup, real solid result in qualifying. And how was it, the performance going to qualify? Did you guys feel the track was a little bit different from your previous sessions, where you guys already were spot on with the setup and you guys basically just cruised and did your best to get into Hyperpole?
Well, we certainly do a lot of testing, of course in quali pace as well as in full fuel stints. So we were quite prepared for this session. We know it's important to be to have a good grid position, even if it's not defining anything, because it's a 24-hour race. But for the first couple of laps, to not be in the middle of the pack was a priority for us, and we knew we have the pace to be in front. So I think we managed that well, and we are in the position that we wanted. So I think we can be pretty happy from now.
Okay, that's good to know. And I'll do the questioning to Matheus in Portuguese and I'll relay back to you folks before I'll let Matheus answer. So, Matheus, cara, uma Hyperpole bem limpa, basicamente. Tua volta nem precisou de uma segunda volta, quase, né, Matheus? Ali, tua primeira volta rápida foi que ditou tudo. E como é que tu sentiu em relação ao conforto agora, sabendo que vocês são pole e vão poder ditar o ritmo da corrida no Hypercar?
Lorenzo, obrigado primeiramente por ter falado português. Eu peço até desculpas aí, tá? Mas foi uma volta mágica que eu consegui encaixar. Graças a Deus aí, essa semana a gente conseguiu treinar bem. Eu não estava preparado para vir fazer o quali, né? Ia ser o Robert, mas como teve um probleminha, enfim, acabei conectando aí para poder fazer o quali. Que bom que deu certo, tirei esse peso das costas e é isso aí. Vamos seguir. Tranquilo para próxima semana. Né?
Absolutely, claro, com certeza. So for those who were wondering, in this Portuguese exchange, I asked them basically how was Hyperpole, basically getting the lap on his first fast lap, and now how he will be comfortable dictating the pace in the Hypercars. How is he feeling? And he just pretty much answered that he's thankful that to be here, and basically that his lap was a magical lap. He basically got everything right. He's feeling ready, but he wasn't due to be in the car. Actually, it was Robert Santos, or I like to call it Robert Lewandowski, just because it was one of the ministers in Brazil. It says he shares the same name. But he's very happy with the car. The team has practiced all week, so he's feeling ready. The whole team is feeling ready, and he's looking for not only him, but I think you, Daniel, as well. He's looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Daniel, Matheus, congratulations, parabéns, and we'll see you in about a week.
See you, mate. I hope we can concrete this good qualifying session and into a win in next week. So let's keep an eye on it.
100%.
Obrigado, gente. Até semana que vem aí. Valeu, um abraço.
Good luck for next
right,
week, and we wish you all the best luck, and best luck to every driver who is participating and team who was participating in the 24-hour next week. That, though, is qualifying and Hyperpole done and dusted. We now head to the 24-hour race. It's next Saturday, 2 p.m. GMT, where there will be 3 free practice sessions in the week. Keep your eyes on our social media platforms to see who has been doing what in free practice throughout the 2nd, 3rd and 4th of June. But from me, Lorenzo, and all the team here at ESCC and ACV, we will catch you in a week's time for the 24-hour. See you there. Goodbye.